reaching out to American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Beth and Rip are back in Dutton Ranch.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work.
Starring Kelly Riley,
A legacy is a beautiful thing, but only if it survives.
Cole Hauser,
What's gonna work?
Ed Harris,
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
and Annette Bening.
I can make this a lot harder for all y'all.
And peace will have to wait.
Dutton Ranch. New series now streaming on Paramount Plus. You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Denver at 720-637-9567, 720-637-9567. That's 720-637-9567. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationdenver.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
While medicine's greatest advancements look like the latest sci-fi, one of our most powerful tools is far more simple, more human. It's a calling to connect with purpose by treating people, not just patients. With innovations that amplify healing and lead to more personalized care, guided by the belief we all hold the power to heal.
Listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge
Couple. It's been a while. I'd say
try,
at least 5 months.
You know,
while you're training will come in and do my show, and then eventually you get promoted to my show, and then you're off and running because everybody that works my show is, promoted up into greatness. I'm like the Bill Parcells of Denver Sports Talk Radio.
You got quite the tree then.
Yes. Oh, yeah. My coaching tree is enormous. But so good to see you, Bex. We're going to have a good time here today.
Excited for it.
Yeah. Now, what did you do last night? So this is sports related. I found myself, had a big party last night, 5, whatever. And then it's like, okay. And I was like, for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, the Avs are playing. And then I'm like, wait a minute, the Avs are not playing. And so I'm like, well, what do you do? What are Denver sports fans doing now while we wait for the Avalanche? There's no Nuggets, of course. We're waiting for the Avalanche, but we're not quite in that, part of, the season where it's like, all right, well, we just gotta watch golf until, the training camp starts, right? So what did you do, Alex Becker?
Well, I was locked into Game 6, actually, of Sabres Canadians. I know Denver
locked
Sports,
in? Wasn't it like 8-3 or something?
It was, but they were down 3-1, so they mounted this huge comeback. Buffalo has been so bad for so long, so I'm secretly rooting for that fan base that they've suffered through so much. So that was what I was tuning into. PGA Championship was over by then, and I'm not the biggest fight guy, so I wasn't really into the Rousey fight.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. Now, the Buffalo thing's interesting. I was filling in on Denver Sports Tonight a couple of weeks ago. I'm listening to Zach. I think it was him and Will Peterson on the way in on the drive. Zach, obviously from Buffalo, right? Long-suffering Buffalo fan. That's when you grow up with it, that's what you know, right? And he came up with an interesting thought. He said, if they were redrafting Major League Sports cities, Buffalo would be wiped out. Like, Buffalo wouldn't have any teams anymore. Like, they don't belong in the big show. Right. And that got me thinking. So what we talked about that night was if you could wipe a major league city out of the business, what would it be? But then we morphed it into, or if you could just contract teams like Major League Baseball. A lot of people don't know this. Major League Baseball, I think it was like 20 years ago, they were going to axe the Minnesota Twins and the Montreal Expos.
Wow. So it'd be 28 teams then.
It would have been, yeah. And then what they find, I think there was enough of an outpouring of support in Minnesota that said, all right, you guys can keep your team. And then they just moved. Major League Baseball for a while, my understanding is they just bought out because in Montreal it was in fact, there's an interesting Netflix documentary on it.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, did you? Yeah.
Who killed the Montreal Expos?
Yeah, who killed the Montreal Expos? Pretty fascinating. And so they just, I think, bought the team for a while and then managed it. And, obviously they moved it to Washington. And then they kind of repackaged it as, what are now the Nationals. But that would get wiped out if they redrafted. And the interesting one that nobody pushed back on, because we came up with, like Cleveland or, like the Browns or the Jets or, anything in Arizona, essentially, right? We were coming up with they have like a 1% chance of competing. So I don't know. And nobody really pushed. I thought, well, that's going to be a hot take. Like, people are going to come at me. They're going to at me, bro. And nobody did.
Yeah, because the Coors Field, the attendance, all that plays a big part of it. The franchise itself, though, I think the MLB could do without it. What, 5 or 6 playoff years in seasons in 30-plus years? Yeah, I don't think they'd be losing a whole lot.
Yeah, and the reality is it's just probably never going to work here just because of the altitude, right?
It's a severe disadvantage.
And plus, I was also told by one of my radio partners that was a big seam head, Rendo Notaro, he was also saying that when they built Coors Field, they screwed up the dimensions so that it makes it like really hard to play outfield. So like
not only the biggest outfield in baseball.
Yeah, and so it's like they screwed that up, and that makes it the ability to be competitive even harder here. So if you're never really going to be competitive, but do I care if the Monforts and the Penner Group make money off of us? Oh, I don't care in the Colorado Rockies, and I don't think. Although this is like my last stand. Like this guy, this Paul DePodesta guy, give this guy 4 or 5 years to work his Moneyball thing. If anybody's going to figure it out, it'll be that, right? Like you can small ball, whatever, Moneyball your way into relevance. But outside of that, I don't know about the Rockies. In fact, in hour number 3, we're having 2 old school Channel 4 sportscasters come in and talk about Irv Brown. One of their coworkers, Les Shapiro, the Rockies, he loved the Cubs.
Right.
And like if he's saying because at the time he's like, Dan, it's been 27 years or whatever it was. He's like, if it was going to work at all, it would have worked by now. And I was like, well, yeah, what about October? And he's like, yeah, come on, man.
They might luck into another run like that every once in a while.
Every
but it's
every
not,
quarter century?
Right. It's not going to be sustained success, though. There's a reason why they have 0 division titles in 32 years.
Right. So if Les is telling me it doesn't work here, it doesn't work here. So I don't know. But nobody really pushed back on me on that. Somebody says, by the way, Dan, it's Irvin Joe's coaching tree. Well, technically, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's still, I'm from the Irvin Joe tree. And then, but like Bill Belichick has his own tree, right? And he's from, Bill Parcells' coaching tree. So now, that's an interesting thing. I don't think Bill Parcells gets credit for all of Bill Belichick's hires. So that's interesting. How the coaching tree, when does a coaching tree split off on its own? Like, for example, Mike Shanahan has an impressive coaching tree, but is that really Bill Walsh's coaching tree?
Yeah, I think it is, because it starts there.
So Kyle Shanahan never knew Bill Walsh, but is he still under Bill Walsh's tutelage, his coaching tree? Or do you have to have actually worked for? So, like, would you be under Irvin Joe's coaching tree?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No.
Even though I was influenced by them, and then, of course, I'm taking all the credit for any success you have because you worked on my show one time 5 months ago, right?
Yeah.
No. Hey, speaking of the coaching tree, my former boss, the first man to hire me for a regular sports talk show. Now, of course, I worked here. I was a host. I was a producer, and I hosted, many years ago. But at Mile High Sports, the man who made, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. James Marilat joins us, brought to you by the Birdie Bar, the premier indoor golf bar in downtown Louisville, locally owned and operated. Find them at birdie.bar on the web and Instagram. Mr. Marilat, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Dan. How are you? Apparently, I am good at spotting talent. Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't say that. You said that, but yeah. I might give Casey Pike more of the credit for that, but yeah, I mean, technically. Yeah. So the coaching tree, does the coaching tree die at some point? Like we're just talking about, does Bill Walsh get credit for every Mike Shanahan guy? Does Bill Parcells get credit for every Bill Belichick coach? Like how do those coaching trees work?
I think so, because I think even before Bill Walsh, it was Paul Brown. Like, that's who he worked for in Cincinnati. That's where he picked up and developed the West Coast offense. So I think you can trace it all the way back to that. Doesn't mean each guy doesn't have their own share of branches. But no, I don't think it dies. I think it goes from Paul Brown to Bill Walsh to Mike Shanahan to Kyle Shanahan to Robert Saleh. Like, it just keeps going and going and going. I think it's fun that you can trace it back. It's just like a family tree, right? Like, you go 6 generations back, how much did those people actually impact you? Well, other than your DNA, probably not a lot, but it still doesn't mean that they're not a part of your family tree.
No, I thought just really well done. It was a documentary. Tom Brady was involved in it. It was talking about the 49ers kind of dynasty, right? And it went kind of deep into Bill Walsh. I don't know that he would be too comfortable with one James Marilat giving Paul Brown credit because they were largely at odds. And yes, Bill Walsh worked there, but he was coming up with the stuff. And I don't think Paul Brown was a big fan of it. So you can't really give him the credit for the West Coast offense, can you?
Well, I mean, no, it was his offense. It was just when Paul Brown decided to step down, they had a choice. Did they make Bill Walsh the head coach league when they were considering a new head coach and kind of badmouth Bill Walsh?
Yep.
And a lot of it was just, hey, he's too nice of a guy. He's too cerebral. He's not, the typical football coach, especially back then. There was a screamer and a yeller. He was more of the calm type. So, yeah, I don't think there was any love lost between the two. And I think, Bill Walsh probably was pretty bitter and rightfully so toward Paul Brown. But no, that was Paul Brown couldn't play smash mouth, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So how can they, quote unquote, run the ball by putting it in the air? That's really what the West Coast offense was. It was like, short passing game in place of a running game. So, yeah, I think he would admit that it traces back to there, but it might be a little begrudgingly.
Okay. All right, so let's start with the Avalanche. First off, is this one of those, like, where were you when it happened moments? Is it officially the Miracle on Chopper Circle? Like, what are we calling what happened on Wednesday night?
I don't know what we're calling it yet. Miracle on Chopper Circle is not bad. I don't know. It's a little wordy.
I think that's what the team came out with.
Yeah, well, then it's definitely not what it's going to become, because that's, a bunch of people sitting around a boardroom trying to brainstorm. It's definitely you'll remember where you were moment. Like, I'll remember where I was sitting in the house and that my kids were there with me. And
where the staff was, where the Maryland staff was.
Right.
Yeah.
That I'd let them off for the night. Because it was a miracle. It was a miracle. Like, they had no business winning that game. They're down 3-1 with 3.5 minutes left. And it was awesome. It was exciting. When they pulled it off in overtime after nearly losing in overtime, it was thrilling. But I think we can't let that gloss over the fact, Dan, that they should have lost the game. They should have played Game 6 on Friday in Minnesota, and they were also in Game 4 after playing terrible in Game 3. In Game 4, that was a 2-2 game with 8.5 minutes to play. It was a 3-2 game with a minute to play. So I get it. They're 8-1. And everybody's all excited, and they should be. And I'm not trying to be the wet blanket.
Stop it. No, I'm stopping you right there. Classic James Marilat.
Bad games in a row, Dan.
I'm not saying, no. See, I said it's great and blah, 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 but, and then you're killing them. Like classic James Marilat. Like they historic,
I'm just trying to warn people.
Top 10 in Denver sports history moment. And you're like, yeah, that's great. Taking nothing away from that. Like, yeah. No, all due respect, but your wife could, lose a few LBs, right? Like that's basically what you're doing is the Avs are great. They're great, but they
think this is going to be a cakewalk because it is concerning, and I think it's this reason. I think they lack a killer instinct, Dan. So they should have lost Game 5. Let's just and I was tweeting it with 3.5 minutes left, and then it all turned around. But that would have meant Jared. It was 3 counting the other night. They had a chance to close it out, couldn't get it done, and 2 of them it was 2-2 in 2-0, and just bury the Wild. And they had their worst game of the playoffs by a mile in Game 3. Then you're up 3-1. You have a chance to put away the Wild, take a week or so off, and just kind of relax and let Anaheim and Vegas play out their series. And they come out and they played awful in the first period. They were down 3-0. It should have been 4-0. There was a goal taken away, so they were fortunate. Like, that's concerning to me that in that situation, for the 5th consecutive time, you didn't answer the bell. Now, maybe they're good enough that they'll get away with it. And they probably are. But to act like there's nothing to see there, I think then they were very, very lucky to win Game 5.
Oh, man.
That's just the reality.
The team has no killer instinct. They just, come back from 3-0 down, and then it's still, like you said, they're still down 3-2 with like a minute to go. They're down 3-1 with 4 minutes to go, and then they win the whole dang game. But, no killer instinct, James.
I don't think
they're luck. It's pure luck. Dumb luck.
They're and Nathan McKinnon can score a goal when the opening is the size of a tomato soup can, right? Like he can do that. Okay, but just because you get away with it once doesn't mean you're going to get away with it time after time after time. And you might get away with it against Vegas because Vegas is kind of a pretty mid-division winner, only having 95 points in the season. They would have finished 4th in the Central, like 5th in the Metro. Like they're not a great division winner. They might get away with it against them. You're not going to get away with playing like that against Montreal, Buffalo, or Carolina. You're just not. So it's May 17th. I'm putting out the warning of, you know what, you better come to play in the Stanley Cup final because you're not going to be able to just get by on talent alone.
Well, first off, I can't even believe that you went through that whole thing, 3 or 4 minutes, and not nary a criticism of Jared Bednar bungling. Because this is the one legitimate criticism. Everything else you just said, hogwash. Just hogwash. But what you were saying before the game, and I still think it's a valid criticism, is Bednar still bungled the goaltender situation.
100%. He made completely the wrong choice, right? And then his guy, that he, for whatever reason, he just was looking for a reason to play Mackenzie Blackwood, was terrible. just terrible, and gave up 4 goals, only 3 of which counted, and then got yanked, and they put back in Scott Wedgwood, who should have been in net the entire time, solidified that he should be the goaltender, but he's not. Jared Bednar still won't name him as the guy, despite the fact that just blew up in his face. So, look, I don't have a problem with them yanking Scott Wedgwood in Game 3 because you can't bench everybody, right? Like, you got to do something to kind of shake it up. They're down 3-0.
No, see,
he hadn't played well, but he also wasn't awful. Like, I get –
you're yanking – if a goaltender's getting shelled, which he wasn't, then you can pull him. But there's no spark in putting in the other goaltender. Like, the reason the Avs were getting beat up in that game he got benched was they weren't playing very well in front of him at all.
Correct.
And so
That's
putting
correct.
in a goaltender is not going to make you play better offensively and score goals all of a sudden. So there's
I don't think it is either.
there's
Yeah,
it's not like putting in
but
a
I'm
new
not gonna
quarterback.
Be mad about it.
Yeah,
No, I'm with you. I think it's silly, but I'm not going to be mad about it because he had to try something. They were playing awful, and he was grasping at straws. Okay, I mean, so you got to try something. Do I think it's going to work? No. Do I think it's the best strategy? No. But I'm not going to criticize the guy for that move in particular. Not going back to Scott Wedgwood in Game 4 was a mistake, even though they won. But they also went nearly an entire period where he didn't face a shot. It was 62 minutes of time in real time. If you went into your kitchen and looked at the microwave clock, 62 minutes, he didn't face a shot. So they would have won Game 4 with Scott Wedgwood just like they won with Mackenzie Blackwood. And then you roll out Blackwood in Game 5, and he's awful in a game where you're trying to put the Wild away. If they continue with this nonsense, it is Jared Bednar just being stubborn, right? Like
I read an article today. It says gave him credit. He's like he's not afraid to rotate goalies. It's courage. It's courage on his behalf.
It's silly. You have to have a plan, and the plan can't be, oh, who looked best? Yeah, I had a conversation with the guys, during the day, and who did I have the most confidence in? Like, just get out the Ouija board and let it pick it for you, coach. I mean, it's silly. So either you have your guy and he plays unless he gets hurt, or you got to pull him for the course of the history of the NHL, or you say you're in net until we lose, and then it's the other guy.
Right.
I would have been fine with that too. But you have to have some sort of system. It can't just be guessing and pulling a name out of a hat, because inevitably you're going to get it wrong, which is what we saw in Game 5.
You know what's funny? During that series, I was watching one of the games with my lovely wife, Kimberly. And I know that the hockey purists are going to beat me up on this, but I wonder how you come down on this. Isn't it one of the strangest things in sports? So I'm watching the game. Devon Taves just fires a missile from just inside the blue line. Right. And so I said, lovely wife, Kimberly, see that guy that just shot the puck? She goes, yeah, that was awesome. I go, yeah, he didn't score the goal. She goes, what do you mean? He just shot it. Like, no, see how it just grazed off his teammate's jersey? That guy scored the goal. She's like, what? That's ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, no, the first guy got an assist. But that's hockey for you. It just strikes me as strange. It always has. Is that just me though? I'm just, that makes no sense.
You. If a guy redirects it with his stick and there's some skill involved, like, okay, if it just bounces off your body and you just happen to be in the right place at the right time, it is kind of silly that you.
But that guy, that's the guy that runs around and celebrates like, yeah, I scored a goal. And then in the write-ups by the writers, it's always like, whoa, with the goal or whatever. Like, dude, Devon Taves got robbed of the glory.
Well, and the other thing is, like, there are some goals that are, I forget, I think it was Game 4, Ross Colton's goal, where it's like he's on the left side and it's a perfect pass and sets him up, and boom, he just puts it in. There's nothing the goaltender can do. Like, it's just a pretty hockey play.
Yeah.
But that's a small percentage of them. Most of them are just fired at the net and hope there's traffic, hope it gets a bounce, hope the goaltender doesn't see it. Like, the percentage of goals, especially in the playoffs, that you just look at it and go, there was a big portion of that was just luck.
Yeah.
And you got to fire him it's why you just got to keep peppering the goaltender with shots. But yeah, it's definitely more than half the goals. It's probably 75% of the goals. I just sit there and go, well, that was lucky. But you know what? If you've got enough talent and you fire enough shots, hey, you'll get lucky enough to win and advance. And now here we go into the Western Conference Final for the second time in 25 years.
All right. I love the way you frame that. The last time they won a cup, like 4 years ago. All right, so last thing for you. Tell me about, I'm all over DenverSports.com. You guys got a bunch of great content on it. But James Merrillat, your thoughts on the Denver Broncos schedule?
When it first came out, I was like, oh, this is a gauntlet. And then I did the morning show with Mike Evans on Friday, and we just sort of spent 4 hours working our way through it. And I've totally flip-flopped on it. Because here's the way I look at it. They have 6 layups. Now, there's nothing that's a complete layup in the NFL, but they play 4 teams that weren't on that don't get a primetime game. So the league thinks they're going to be terrible. And they play one of those teams twice. That's the Raiders. So that's 5, plus you're at Carolina. So you start looking at Carolina, Arizona, Miami, the Jets, and the Raiders twice. You got to go 6-0 in those games. You just have to. Okay, so now you're 6-0 in those. You got 11 other games. You got to go 5-6 to get to 11 wins, to get to 11-6. Like, that is very doable. And I don't think this opening 6-game gauntlet is what everybody makes it out to be. I don't. And if you're a true contender, you're not scared off by it. If you and I were doing radio today in Buffalo and that was our schedule, we'd be saying, oh, we can go to Kansas City and win in week 1 when Patrick Mahomes is coming off knee surgery. We got the Jags in here week 2. Love that. We got the Rams after they've been to Australia and then played a Monday night and then they got to travel here. We get the Seahawks on a short week on a Thursday night. Like, there are some things on there that make that 6 game. That's probably a loss. But in that 6-game stretch, if you were doing radio in Jacksonville, yeah, that's likely a loss. Like, we're not going to go 17-0. If I got to pick some losses, that's probably it. So why are we so afraid of this? I don't get it. So I flip-flopped. I'm 11-6.
Well,
now.
good. You had the courage to change your position and actually admit it this time, James. Oh, I'm just kidding. Hey, James Merrillat, we love you. Great stuff. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds great, Dan.
Denver, Vegas. The Western Conference Final is here, and this city is hyped. The Avalanche, the Golden Knights, a trip to the Stanley Cup Final on the line. We're riding through it with you, and we're just as obsessed as you are. Every take, every call, every moment that makes you jump out of your seat, we're living it with you. Mornings, middays, afternoons, it's Avalanche playoff coverage all day long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com, DeerTrailMeatCo.com. Man, we had a barbecue yesterday. Man, it was an all-timer. And that's the thing. That's why you want to get involved with DeerTrailMeatCo.com, because the memories you make when you can put on fantastic food for your loved ones and your guests. And here's how I knew it was a good barbecue, right? Because people took all of it home. Like, you go to parties and they're like, hey, this party, people were begging to take stuff home. It was awesome. It was fantastic. So that's why you got to get ahead of the game, right? We have things coming up. Football season will be here before you know it. Then you got the holidays, all that stuff. You got to get ahead of the game with DeerTrailMeatCo.com. They're going to deliver delicious beef and pork to your front door. It will fill up your freezer, and they're going to do it with a money-back guarantee at tremendous savings, up to 75% off what you pay at the grocery store. Check them out.
Rest taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Progressive knows you think the grass is always greener. Like maybe you ride a motorcycle. But today, it's raining. So you wish you had an RV. But if you did, you'd have to listen to some guy parked next to it at a campsite plays acoustic guitar. Now, before you start wishing you had a boat, remember, your brother-in-law would invite himself every weekend.
Permission to come aboard, Captain?
But one thing that is greener is the money you could save when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHAP.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports 104.
Like you guys or Cello asked him, is he the king of rock and roll? I guess if there is one, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you asked about Michael Jackson. He's like, oh yeah, absolutely.
King of pop, and then
Yeah,
he
king
mentioned Bobby Brown, king of whatever.
Yeah, R&B.
R&B. There you go.
Funny. Now maybe we have to do the work on this one. I'm not sure, but the only thing I've seen so far with the Avs finish was the team tweeted out something, or was it an email? It says "Miracle on Chopper Circle."
I actually like that one.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
James said it was a little wordy.
Because you never hear Chopper Circle referred to as Ball Arena, really.
Correct.
Like 20th and Blake, everyone knows that's Coors Field, but Chopper Circle, it's like, is that where the Avs play? Nuggets play?
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. Can we come up on the text line 303-713-1043? Can we come up with something like a wild execution? Right? Like, because it's got wild in there and you're killing off the wild.
Eliminated them, yeah.
Yeah, the wild execution. Maybe that could, I'm just throwing things out here. Do we have a name, like the Drive, right? We know what the Drive. If I say the Drive, what is it?
John Elway going 98.5 yards against the Cleveland Browns in the 86 AFC Championship.
No, close. It's actually a radio show where Zach Bye scares fan bases about the health of other superstars.
Fair enough.
He was at it again this week. I'll get into that later in the show. No, you're right. It's Drive. It's the Drive. It's
I got corrected by Mark Jackson one time. I said 98 yards. He said, never forget that half. He said 98.5 yards.
Yeah. Okay. So, to me, it feels like it deserves some sort of title. I don't know that. Let's think about this for a second. Because we have our greatest moments in Denver sports history, stuff like that, right? Like the first Elway Super Bowl. You could throw, Rocktober's in there. Like Rocktober had its own nickname, Rocktober. Is this just something we were excited about for like 2 or 3 days and we'll never remember it again? Or is this a legitimate, because like on DenverSports.com, it says, Nathan McKinnon etched his name in, Avalanche history because of this. Like, Are we going to remember this?
I think we should. It's one of the best comebacks in franchise history, and it might be one of the best goals Nathan MacKinnon scored in his entire career. I'd say maybe top 3.
Okay.
So it's got to be remembered. It's got.
Is it contingent on the Avs winning the cup? Like, if they don't win the cup, does it matter?
Not as much, no. Yeah, they got to go on and win it, and this might be seen as maybe the greatest moment in the playoff run.
Yeah.
Depending on how the next 2 series go.
Yeah. So, and I also want to know how you guys viewed this, right? Because not all sports fans like watch every minute of every game. But so I actually had to record the game, but I can't help myself. This is one of the reasons I don't like watching games on DVRs. I don't have the discipline to just, not check the score, or even if I did have the discipline, I can't not skip ahead. You know what I mean? And then once I know the score, like, I'm definitely skipping ahead or whatever, and I miss out on things. But so I had my, I'm a big time actor. I'm on the text line about, you're going to talk about your new DeLorean? So I went to DeLorean, DCPA, right? And so it's the last class. I can't miss it. And so I'm like, dang, I'm missing out on the Avs game. I'm recording it. And I'm watching, we get a break. And so I pick up my phone. It's 3-0. And I'm like, but that's okay. Like, Avs are good enough. Once you get that first goal, if you can just, because I'm like, it's 3-0, and they settle down. Dude, you get one goal, and then you just need one more, and then you're an empty net, whatever, right? So I'm like, well, maybe. And then it gets to third period. They're not scoring. And then finally, with like 4 minutes to go, I look for one last time, and it's still 3-1. I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. They're going to lose.
It's over now.
It's over. And then the next thing I see is Chad Andrus texts me. So we have this mutual friend who used to work here at the station. He was the obnoxious Minnesota Wild fan we had on. He was supposed to rile up, the fan base here. So I had him on.
Is that JD?
No, JD's got some splaining to do. I tell you about that.
Oh.
Yeah, JD has got some major crow to be stuffing in his pie hole today. If I see any text, whatever. And then he got really chirpy, right? Now, before the series, both he was really scared, and we had our other buddy from the, Judge, you're mistaken. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're scared. So they were really scared of the Avalanche. And then they got the one game, and then they got really cocky, right? Like running their mouths. And so Andy Verville's the guy's name. The next text I get after I look when the score's 3-1 with 4 minutes to go, I go back to my chair. I get a text. It's from Chad Andrus saying, you need to FaceTime Verville and record it. It'll be the greatest thing ever. I'm like, why would he say that? Well, now I got to check. I checked the score. They win 4-3. I'm like, oh, holy cow. Unbelievable. And then, I go home and watch the game, stuff like that. So just a very improbable win. And I just, in the annals of Denver sports, where will it come down? And will we remember it at all? I think we will. But they got to win the cup. If they don't win the cup, this is just the disappointment in this season will be so rich that nobody's going to care that they, did a gentleman's, came back from three down against the Wild. I don't think. But so, hit us up on the text line 30 Mac Smack. That's pretty good. A Mac Smack. He smacked it right into the net.
A Mac Smack.
Yep. And then it is contingent on winning the Stanley Cup, a great series and comeback. Absolutely. The Vegas. I know I'm going to butcher this.
He meant to say Malinsky.
Okay. I was like, I don't know who that person is. Yeah. Sam Malinsky will be back. Cale McCartney. Somebody else says, yes, just like the drive was the drive. This is the shot. It's always one word. Mike. Yeah, that was James's thing. Like miracle on chopper circle.
A little too wordy.
That was what James said. It's a little cliche. I kind of also lean with what you were saying, Alex, that like most people don't really have an affinity for chopper circle.
Right. That was my first thought when I heard it.
Yeah. I suggested the snipe under the pipe. That's kind of cool.
That is good.
On the text line. Yeah. A wild execution. I kind of like that. Although a great comeback, I think it will, let's see here. It will be an afterthought as soon as the next series gets rolling. Yeah, I think, but then when you look back, it'll be part of the story. Right? Because, we're not going to be talking about it next week. But
yeah, when we're knee deep in the Vegas series.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a moment that can't be forgotten. It's one of the best moments in Avalanche history, frankly, I think. Especially playoff moments.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like
a
now again, I'm overly praiseworthy of what Nazem Kadri did in 20, right? Like they were going to fold like they always had and have since. And he just said, my shoulders are big enough. Get on my back.
Right.
And he went in that town with a police escort and death threats and all that nasty stuff. And he just said, get on my back. It wasn't Nathan McKinnon. It wasn't. If we're having to talk about moments that aren't, where they won the cup, that is, up there. Now, a lot of people don't remember this, and Alex, you probably weren't even, I don't even know if you're alive. What year were you? 5 or 6 years old when this happened, but do you know who Ray Bork is?
Of course.
Yeah. A Bork moment that many don't remember. How does it compare to this moment? We'll get into that coming up next.
Summer is calling, and we're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. You get 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, pop-up tent, and Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and did we mention you also get a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler? Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. We'll see you at the lake. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Jacob's Law, 303-LAW-4040. 303-LAW-4040. It's funny, my sister finally heard one of my commercials, and she says, I thought everything was great, but... it's like James Maryland. Blah, blah, blah. But... So she says, but why do you say... they weren't looking to get rich. Your clients weren't looking to get rich. Some people could take that as like, you don't really get your clients very much money. And I said, I can understand why you say that, Alyssa, but that's because it's true though, as far as our clients aren't like, oh, I got into a car accident, I got to get paid. That's just not who you guys are as listeners. In fact, here's a story. A guy, small town, he was referred to me. And he says, Dan, I don't even know if I want to go through with this claim. And this was a horrific claim. He was very seriously injured in like a swing set accident with a front loader. He says, but if I have, maybe we'll do it the right way. We got him $1.5 million. And he was thrilled. Law 4040 is the number. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
Now streaming on Paramount Plus. Beth and Rip are back in Dutton Ranch.
This life here is gonna work, isn't it?
We'll make it work. Starring Kelly Riley,
A legacy is a beautiful thing, but only if it survives.
Cole Hauser,
What's going to work?
Ed Harris,
Family is the only thing worth fighting for.
and Annette Benning.
I can make this a lot harder for all y'all.
And peace will have to wait.
Dutton Ranch. New series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
2026 is shaping up to be an amazing year to buy a home in Colorado. If you've been dreaming about getting into your first place, upgrading for more space, or downsizing for a simpler lifestyle, now is a smart time to start planning. And the first step is easy. Get pre-approved. With American Financing, you can get it done in 24 hours or less, so you'll know exactly what you can afford before you start shopping. Rates have been dropping, home prices are steady, and more homes are hitting the market. You could score the right home at the right price and lock in a monthly payment that fits your budget without stretching yourself thin. And unlike renting, every payment you make goes toward your future, not your landlord's. And here's a misconception we love to bust. You do not need 20% down. Many buyers purchase with as little as 3% down. So if home ownership is on your 2026 goals list, let's make it happen. Call American Financing, Colorado's home for home loans, at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This deer season, John Deere wants to give you the home field advantage. We're bringing you the best offers of the season, whether that's cash off on select new machines or a shot at the ultimate Major League Baseball prize package. Because right now, you can enter for a chance to win an MLB All-Star experience for you and 3 friends, complete with travel and lodging for All-Star Week this July. Deer season is going on now through June 3rd. Visit johndeere.com/deer season to enter and view the offers and complete contest rules. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort.
Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses, plus free delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life sleep.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Restore your bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning hair with the same simple one-day treatment I receive from Dr. Tanya Pauls of Advanced Hair. Your own natural hair begins regrowing the very next day, and your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. For your free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR, AdvancedHair.com.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports 105.
Number one of the fan weekends being on the Denver Sports YouTube channel. It's kind of a big deal.
How about it?
Yeah, get after it. And so you can actually, so now we have multiple ways. You know, I'm on there all the time. I like to have you guys involved with the program. And then now the YouTube channel chat feature, right? And so we have this thing where I have this memorial. Well, not memorial. This thing, like if you text in something, we say flattery will get you everywhere on this program, right? Instead of flattery will get you nowhere, young man. No, flattery will get you everywhere on the Dan Jacobs Show. So like a lot of times people will be like, this is the best show on the fan, blah, blah, blah. And I was, sometimes I reply and I say, yeah. And you are the texter of the day or texter of the week, right? So here's our texter of the day so far. This is from Jesse Owens, 9774. What's that?
Said, what a name, Jesse Owens.
Yeah, exactly.
36 Olympics.
Nothing to live up to there, right? No pressure. He says, about time they put the weekend show on here. Yeah. I'm not even looking at myself on here, but I bet you the comment we're going to get most frequently is, dang, I had no idea. Dan's a sharp-looking dude.
Say, who's this handsome guy in studio?
Yeah, that's a handsome judge in there, right? So, all right, that's our first. By the way, Jesse Owens, our first ever text or chat read on the Dan Jacobs Show from the YouTube channel. Yay! Now, I just invented another thing for our text line. This is the Zach By Memorial Backhanded Compliment Award. Okay, so this is for like a snarky texter. So I'll read you this. This is from Panda in NoCo. He says, so he says, Kyle Reese and them, they're great. I'm not just blowing smoke to gain your attention. You guys are the best. I love you guys, right? So he's, hyping up the show that comes on before us. Great. I love those guys too. And then 40 minutes later goes, and Dan is intolerable with a devil emoji, I think, or something like that, and a laughing side.
Intolerable or tolerable?
It does say tolerable.
Tolerable.
Okay. But still, that's not really, like a great,
I'll tolerate
it's
you.
not bad. It's decent. Like if you go, how was that restaurant? And somebody says it's decent, don't go to that restaurant, right? So he says, and I believe him to be a compassionate and understanding man. He helps feed folks, which is awesome. So rather than just bleeping, I'll offer to help with thoughts on the subject should the station want to or care. And so I said, yeah, Panda from NoCo with the Zach By backhanded compliment of the day. Love it. Dan's a great guy, feeds people, but listening to him makes me want to jump in front of a bus. So thank you for listening. I do appreciate, but I did misread it. He said tolerable. I thought he said intolerable, but yeah, still fun there. Let's see. Do we have anything else here? Please, Honorable Dan, you have a face only for radio, no weekend YouTube. No, come on. My lovely wife, Kimberly, disagrees with you. All right, so we got some more suggestions coming in there on the text line I will get to as far as maybe things to nickname. It seems like a lot of you guys want to nickname moments in that game, but not nickname the game. But what I was getting to right before the break was, how many people even remember this? So Ray Bourque got traded here. It was super exciting, but they fell short, right? And the Avs were not that far away. I mean, they were stacked. I mean, they had Patrick Waugh, they had young Forsberg, young Sakic, Deadmarsh, Drury. Oh God, who was the?
I mean, Adam Foote.
Adam Foote, who I was thinking about. I don't think they had Rob Blake just yet, but they were rolling and they fell short, and it was kind of a letdown because Ray Bourque did not get them through that first year. So the second year, we're like, oh, here we go again. They're in a tough matchup, I want to say, against the Stars. And I think they're in the second intermission, and the coach says, hey, we got to get one. We need somebody to step up. And Ray Bourque goes, I'll get it. And he comes out of the locker room and sure enough snipes it. Boom. He gets the goal. And that breaks them through in that series, and they go on to win the Stanley Cup that year. And so to me, that's a huge moment in Avalanche history. The Yui Krupp goal where they won their first cup seemed to be pretty, that's kind of sticks out. This win stack up against, like, let's say Sakic getting the cup and going
Handing
directly to Bourque.
That's got to be number one.
That's number one.
Unquestionably.
That's above the goal.
Yes.
The Ray Bourque goal.
That is the moment.
Okay. So, yeah. So, like, he because obviously the tradition is usually the captain gets the cup and he raises it, right? And he's like, I'm not raising it. This one's for Ray. And he skates over with the big old giant cup over to Ray Bourque, and he gets to raise it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So where does this?
It's got to be behind the Yui Krupp goal too, because that was to win the final.
But outside of the fact that which I believe was in overtime,
it was in triple overtime.
Triple overtime. But outside of that, what was special about that goal? I mean, it was a moment. So yeah, by the way, props to you, sir. Like, you know what I'm impressed by? A lot of our guys, our young guys like yourself, Sean Boyd, Dante Gomez, he's almost, I don't want to give him too much credit, but he's a little bit of a renaissance man. Like, he knows, like, you guys know about a lot of stuff that was well before your time.
Yeah, well, I specialize in that for whatever reason. I read a lot of books as a kid and know all the history.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Yeah. So you seem to know a lot. Are we missing any big moments in at least Avalanche history?
Well, McKinnon had that goal against the Blues in Game 5 to send it to overtime in 22 when they won the cup.
That kind of kicked off,
They lost that game, though, in overtime.
Right.
But that goal was just at Cup final, too, coming back from the broken finger or broken pinky that he had.
Yeah.
That when Evander Kane kind of cheap-shotted him into the boards. Him getting the game winner in the Lightning series, I think, is up there, too.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it above this one.
Was that the game winner?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he won it.
Oh. It was the game winner, but no, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Right.
Not the series winner. I was a little discombobulated. All right, 1 hour down. Excited. We got the Irv Brown look back. We're gonna try and maybe we'll raise a little money for the Irv Brown scholarship. Marcia Neville and Mark McIntosh coming in here in a couple hours. In the meantime, is the old man coming around on watching sports on Netflix? Something happened last night that I was like, man, I can't believe I'm saying this. So I'll get into that also next segment as well. We got 25 minutes of uninterrupted sports talk. We'll also get into the Broncos schedule release. All that coming up in hour number 2 of the Easy Like Sunday morning edition of the Dan Jacobs Show.
You asked for this spring. Zach and Phil are back on the road, bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver, May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com. DeerTrailMeatCo.com. I'm still glowing in the glory of the delicious meats I was able to produce yesterday. Here's what we did. We did smoked tenderloin, big giant beef ribs. We did some I just threw in pulled pork. I'm like, I at least got to, it's so easy to make. I threw some pulled pork on. We had pork ribs. We had some picanha steak. Man, it was just, we blew it out yesterday. And people, that's the type of party people remember. People are asking for leftovers. What life is all about. That's why you got to get Deer Trail Meat Co. in your life. They will deliver delicious meat goodness, both beef and pork, to your front door. With a money-back guarantee at tremendous prices. It's usually about 75% off, depending on what you're buying over at the grocery store. So I want you to check them out. DeerTrailMeatCo.com. That's DeerTrailMeatCo.com.
Hey guys, it's Mark Schlereth. I just made one of the best decisions of my life. I got rid of my glasses. I went to Cutarelli Vision and had refractive lens exchange, RLE. I wore glasses for distance vision, but I got to that inevitable point in life where I was always needing those reading glasses just to do about anything, and half the time I couldn't find them. Seeing menus, texting, reading my computer, or studying film, it was a struggle. But now I see the world perfectly, near and far, without any glasses, thanks to Cutarelli Vision RLE, the perfect permanent solution to spending your good active years not needing reading glasses. And here's the cherry on top. You'll never develop a cataract. Dr. Cutarelli is Colorado's most experienced with over 90,000 vision correction procedures. You can trust him to know if it's the right time for you and RLE. Schedule your free Zoom consultation at coloradorle.com. Cutarelli Vision, RLE, no readers, glasses, or contacts, or cataracts. coloradorle.com.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
This is Terry Wickstrom. I want to tell you about a great new partner to Terry Wickstrom Outdoors, Mad River Mortgage, your reverse mortgage specialist. If you want to secure your rest of life housing, maybe come up with some extra cash, or have a line of credit available to supplement your senior lifestyle, call my friend Mike Rabin at 303-396-2804 and ask about an FHA-insured home equity conversion mortgage, or go to madrivermortgage.com, NMLS 1504779.
Hi folks, Dan Cicchini, Done Right Home Improvements. My wife Susan and I started Done Right in our garage in 1985, doing a little of everything. We've grown to be one of the largest companies of our kind in Colorado, specializing in kitchens, baths, counters, floors, finished basements, and windows and doors. Serving Colorado 40 years. And what an adventure it's been. We've learned that the fundamentals of a successful business never change. That is, treat people like you want to be treated, do good work, price fairly, and back up what you say. That's our success formula. Here's our son Todd.
That's right, Dad. Been hearing that my whole life from you and Mom. Folks, whether it's a first-class kitchen renovation, an awesome turnkey bathroom remodel, a full-service basement finish for some extra space, or replacement windows and doors that will wow you, give us a call. With an 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about, now couldn't be a better time.
Kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, finished basements, windows, and doors, you have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. Call us to reserve your spot in our schedule. 303-722-2295, 800-362-8370, or drhi.com.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk, or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs.
All right, hour number 2 of the easy, Sunday morning edition of the Dan Jacobs Show. Yes, historic moments here. Our first ever YouTube channel broadcast. Fantastic. We got some Melon Denvers listening out there on YouTube land. That's great. Now, Jesse Owens was our first ever chat comment read, and Brian and Evans goes on the text line. Awesome. Now I can remember I'll always remember where I was during this iconic all-time Jesse Owens moment. Yes. Miracle on Chopper Circle or whatever it's called. Well, see, Panda from NoCo. See, what I'll do is I'll go. So he was the one that texted in, and I actually misread part of what he texted in. But most people don't put their names on texts, so I'll go up and scroll and see if anybody ever puts their name on something, and I'll just above tolerable. Okay, thanks, all Tom. Right. A.K.A. Panda from
Tolerable
NoCo.
Plus.
Yes. Barbecue on point last night. I just went nuts, man. All the meats, big, giant beef ribs. Because somebody was on the text line that says, hey, if we go watch the YouTube, you'll roll all that beautiful barbecue beef footage. And I did post. I am definitely post food pic guy, right? To me, the internet was created for two things. Food pics, because I think everybody should be interested in whatever I'm eating at any given moment. I think that's important. And then also cat pictures, cat videos, fantastic. Right. So anyway, we had the barbecue, giant beef ribs. By the way, I do want to give a little shout out. I bought some of the stuff. Mike Daborski over at Old Style Sausage. It's made right here. And I think it's somewhere up north, right? Fantastic. It's sausages made for the smoker. Like they want you to put a little smoke into them. Fantastic. So if you want to support somebody, but it was a former Bronco way back in the day, like in the 60s. So good stuff. You want to support a local company, dude, get some old, because it was a big hit. What I did was, so just start to kick the party off, right? So I throw a bunch of the sausages. I had hot links, some bratwurst, and then some jalapeno sausage from Old Style Sausage. Put those on the smoker, and then you take them off, and you slice them up into little discs, and you put the toothpicks in them, right? So people feel better, right? Like I ate like 9 cheesecake bites because, well, it's not a whole piece of cheesecake. I can have as much as I want, right? Boom, bam. Yeah, I'm like, geez, I got to stop eating these. So, people gobbled those up, and that just kind of kicked off the party a little bit. And then we had pulled pork, giant beef ribs. And then I'm not usually my pork ribs, my St. Louis ribs. I'm not, I'm decent. Like my ribs are in the conversation, but I'm never going to brag about them. Dude, people plowed right through those ribs yesterday. So man, we blew it out. It was fantastic.
That's amazing. Sounds delicious. And I'm just getting hungry listening to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we had, desserts and, all sorts of good stuff. All right. So, we have the party, right? And it's funny because this morning I'm watching, there's an article about, is the NFL killing the golden goose by, selling out to streaming now? You can't, and then, the nice thing about rewinding is you can fast forward past commercials, and plus you can move around, like on NFL Sunday, you can jump from this to that, or a college football weekend. I'm watching this game, I can jump to this game. Like, dude,
that's my biggest thing with it.
Yeah, right.
You want to channel surf.
Yeah, you can't channel surf with this junk, right? So I'm not a proponent. Plus, I'm not paying. I don't want to pay for a bunch of different, streaming services, right? Like, what's the point in cutting the cord? Because what was cable before? Cable's, people like, I can't afford $150 a month for cable, which, was probably your cable and your internet, right? And which is pricey. I understand that. But okay, well, if I'm spending, and when Netflix first came out and it was $9, all right, fine. But now I think Netflix is $20. And then what if you want Paramount Plus? What if you want Apple TV? Like these things, how much are you saving? by cutting the cord. And then you have to have all these different logins. I go yesterday to log into Netflix. Guess what? This is in my home. And it's like, are you traveling? No, I'm not traveling. Well, then you need to confirm the device. Well, guess how I confirm the device? It sends an email to my wife's Gmail account, which she's never at, right? So I have to like bug her to get confirmed. Like, what a pain in the butt. And you got to do that for all these devices, HBO or apps, HBO Max and Paramount Plus and this and that, and just drive me crazy.
It is a lot.
Right.
It is a lot. Prime Video, you got to flip around.
Prime Video.
You probably don't have all of them. There's at least one or.
But in fairness, I got to thinking about it last night, and I give. So last night was the very well hyped Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey fight, right? And we were looking forward to that for months, right? They're out there doing their glamour shots and photos. Expect anything, right? Like Gina Carano is 45 years old, and but I was like, at least they're trying something different, because it used to be that the reason sports became popular and the reason that sports were so profitable is because we're the product, right? Networks are selling us. They're selling our attention and our eyeballs and our data, our demographic data and all that stuff. They're selling that, and they're promising it to advertisers to say, we can get Dan and Alex to learn about, Charmin toilet paper, whatever, right? Or 303 Law 4040, whatever. And there used to be a lot of value in that. But now, for whatever reason, there's not so much value in it, right? And so we talked about that forever with the Avs and Nuggets. The Avs and Nuggets were making some estimates were as much as $40 million per year on altitude. That's big money. Well, but they weren't getting that because we were paying for a subscription service. They were getting that because Comcast had to pay them $6 or whatever it was per subscribe, $3 per subscriber per month. For a channel that's got, during the good months, it's got 3 hours of programming a day, and
might have a golf show here and there.
Yeah, and then outside of that, there's also 6 months out of the year where they've got nothing worth that you're going to want to watch. So that was pretty good money. But at some point, Comcast said, nobody's going to pay for this, so why are we paying for it? Right? Like, there's not enough. In fact, what Dish Network said was, tell you what, Altitude, we want you back on, but we can't pay you anything because we can't charge anything for your services. But we'll tell you what, we'll eat the costs. We'll carry Altitude at a loss, and we'll pay for the satellite time and all that stuff, and we'll put you on, and you can charge your fans whatever you want. We'll just throw it in there on their cable or their satellite bill, right? And Altitude's like, no, we can't make any money doing that. So it's this weird dichotomy. We all love sports. We're not all necessarily willing to pay for even our hometown teams, right? Like maybe we're not going to pay for it. So now they're switching to, well, can we get outsourcing model? And it's the same thing with Amazon Prime, right? Like they can afford to do it because people, for the NFL anyway, they are willing to subscribe. Like I don't remember the stats, but those first games that were on Amazon Prime, like the amount of Amazon Prime subscriptions they had were insane. There were tens of millions of them, right? And so it's really a worthwhile. So the benefit for these streaming services is they can get to consumers and they can generate revenue. What they can do is like Netflix, because what killed boxing? Pay-per-view, right? Like I was a guy, one of the biggest boxing fans there was, went to all the fights with Irvin Joe and stuff like that, and I loved boxing. And it didn't matter what it was, I bought every single pay-per-view every time, right? And it started out, there were $40, then there were $50, then there were $80, and everything was on pay-per-view. Because growing up, it used to be the model Netflix is using now and Amazon Prime is using now. Showtime and HBO did that with boxing, right? Because like some of my most richest memories from when I was a kid was watching Mike Tyson or Larry Holmes, some of those fights with my dad on HBO, right? And I definitely, as long as they had boxing, I always paid for HBO even as an adult because I loved they had really first-class boxing content. And Showtime wasn't quite to that level, but they also had, they had good fights and stuff. But at some point, they made the calculation, the amount it costs to put on this boxing content is not offset by the amount of subscribers that we can tie to that. And that if we cut the boxing content, we're actually going to make money. So that helped kill boxing. But then Floyd Mayweather and types like that and promoters that simply said, we're only going to make good fights, when they're safe and they're easy. So like Floyd Mayweather never fighting. Once he became champion, he never really fought anybody that was worth anything until he knew they were either before there. Like he did fight Canelo before Canelo was Canelo. And he knew he could win that fight pretty easy. But outside of that, like he just fought washed up dudes. And why not? Because he laughed he'd be making hundreds or $200 million a fight. And so it ruined the sport. And so the thing that I was impressed with last night was a lot of these pay-per-view boxing cards, they were the fight you wanted and nothing else. Whereas HBO fights and sometimes Showtime fights, they were not just one good fight, but there were several. And there were guys that were up and coming. So like a young Floyd Mayweather or a young Manny Pacquiao might be on that card, even though Oscar De La Hoya was like the main event, or a heavyweight was, Mike Tyson was the main event or whatever. And so they were good. It was a good solid evening of boxing. And recently that has not been the case for boxing matches. And they're actually, what you're seeing is they're dialing it back. And they're getting away from pay-per-view because they realize that they've killed the golden goose. But what Netflix is doing, one, they're trading on a couple things. One, pop culture, right? You got Jake Paul and Logan Paul, who shouldn't be in a boxing ring, but they're able to, because of their broad appeal amongst youngsters, the younger generation, they're able to get eyeballs. Like my 17-year-old daughter knew about the Mike Tyson Paul fight, right? And like crazy. Like she doesn't watch sports, but so they're able to justify the cost of paying all these money to these, washed up athletes and YouTubers for their fights. Right. But what I was impressed with last night, which it was kind of cool. Did you watch at all, by the way?
Not
Alex,
really.
You said
I did see the highlights, but
yeah. So, we have our party, we're doing our thing. And then it's like, all right, let me just sit down and relax. There's no abs. Whatever. You were watching the hockey game. I went to go turn to the hockey game. Like it was already out of reach. And so I tune in this fight. And by the time I get to it, the undercard is Francis Ngannou, who was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world, but he wasn't making any money. I think this is how it went. Like he wasn't making any money. So he went and fought in a boxing match, Tyson Fury. And I believe he knocked down Tyson Fury, like dang near won. First time ever boxing, almost beat the heavyweight champion of the world. And then he did another fight and he got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. And so I think this was like his comeback fight. That was like the third. They said we have 3 main events, not just one. Like that's a big fight, and
that
he came,
sizable fight,
and he's a huge puncher. He's a guy that puts guys to sleep. And he came out and he put that dude to sleep. And then the second one was Nate Diaz. And I'm like, holy cow. How is Nate Diaz still fighting?
Bringing the UFC to boxing, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, but these were not boxing matches. This was all MMA.
Oh.
So Nate Diaz tried to box and he wasn't any good at it, like Logan Paul or Jake Paul beat him. So he's like, all right, for money, I'll come back. I'm like, how is this even allowed? Like, if you ever see Nate Diaz speak, like he's like a walking testimonial against CTE. Like the guy can't, he's punch drunk. But they trot him out there, and he's going to make for an exciting fight. I swear to God, I've never seen a bloodier fight ever. And I used to cover fights here for the station. Like I said, I've watched every boxing match I possibly could. He was bleeding out of 4 different gashes. His back was drenched in blood, and there was like a little pocket kind of where he had muscle definition that was like filled up with blood on his back. And then he had like 3 different gashes on his forehead. It was just a bloody mess everywhere. And the announcer was saying, It looks like a bloody horror movie, but we also have to admit it's beautiful. Like this guy just getting pounded. After the fight, he could, Nate Diaz, he couldn't even string together a sentence because he's Nate Diaz. But like that was, for people that like that stuff, that was another undercard fight. And then of course you had the main event, the real main event, which was Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. It was just they actually invested in putting on, I don't want to call it a great card because it wasn't great fighting, but a highly entertaining. For what it is, it was not, the Carano fight was not entertaining because it lasted 17 seconds. Like Ronda Rousey basically has, one move. It's the arm bar, right? Like she gets and she just grabs Carano's arm and tap out. Like totally underwhelming. But the weird thing was, like, I'd never seen anything like this. After the fight, they were just hugging and crying, and they stayed in the ring for 15, 20 minutes, and it was just like a party. And, because the story was Rousey got into fighting because of Carano, and it was her hero, and real life drama. Like, this is why we kind of like sports, right? Like she had to go in the ring because Rousey's a legitimate fighter. At this point, Gina Carano's definitely not, right? She's 45 years old. She hasn't fought in like 15, 16 years. She just wanted to challenge herself. She lost 100 pounds to get into shape for this fight. But Rousey could still fight. But she's fighting her hero. Like literally her hero. Her reason for becoming a Hall of Famer was this other Hall of Famer. And she gets thrust into the ring with her. And she just rolls through her in 17 seconds. And she was emotional about it because on one hand, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just defeated my hero. That's awesome. And the other hand, she's like, I'm so sad I defeated my hero. So she's crying and she's bawling and she's hugging it out. And like they were talking during Kyle and Cello this morning, like what has become of sports, right? And like Anthony Edwards, like dabbing people and coming out of the game with 8 minutes to go in that game the other night. Like are there any killers anymore? Like Kobe wouldn't even talk to his own teammates unless he thought they were producing, right? Like there was, I was reading a story about, this may not be true, it may be fake AI, but when Michael Jordan was on one of his retirements, he was playing some pickup ball at this gym against like old white doctors and accountants. And one guy like stuck it to, like made a basket and was talking trash to Michael. And Michael's like, right?
Wow.
And it's like, you don't get over on Mike. Like, we don't have a ton of those guys anymore, but it was cool. So this is an extreme version of this, right? Not only were these guys, these ladies fighting, but then they just loved each other afterwards. Like I'd never seen anything like it before.
If they had jerseys, they would have swapped those.
Right.
Sure,
Yeah.
after the fight.
The jersey swapping and all that stuff. So it was interesting. It was an credit for that. Now, I am well past the, what do you call it? Like the nostalgia, like trotting out all these old dudes just to embarrass themselves. Like that's.
Saw McGregor's coming back last night too, or that was announced last night.
Yeah.
He's making a return.
Yeah. Like, so I was arguing with my AI. I do this sometimes just because I'm so obnoxious, right? I see Nate Diaz is coming up and I'm like, how on earth an MMA expert? But like, from what I do know about Nate Diaz, like he's beyond washed up. And AI is like trying to play devil's advocate. Like, well, I could see why you would say that, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be this or that. And I said, AI, Dan, when was the last time he won a meaningful fight? When was his last signature victory? It was like 10 years ago against Conor McGregor. I'm like, then if that was the last time, if it's been a decade since you won a good fight, you shouldn't be fighting. But it's just, it's a complete money grab. And man, he got tore up. Like he just got pummeled, so that stuff's got to go. Like the Mike Tysons versus Floyd Mayweather's and Floyd Mayweather versus anybody, all that stuff's got to go. Like there's just no, like, stop. Like, but we're guilty. Like I understood the Mike Tyson stuff, right? Like the Mike Tyson was like, I always believed, and it's not true, but I was then, not now. Now I really don't care for Mike Tyson. But when I was growing up and watching those fights with my dad, I just thought Mike Tyson was the best.
Right. Most powerful puncher of all time, right?
Baddest man on the planet. And I always thought, because he tricks us with, he gets in shape and he gets abs, and they show 30 seconds of him pounding the mitts, and you're like, dude, Tyson's back. Tyson's going to kill him. And then he can't. Like, he's old. He's 50-some years old.
I mean, come on, yeah. Father Time remains undefeated.
Yeah, so, but at least with Mike Tyson, you're like, well, it's still Mike Tyson. I still got to watch, but, like, I'm even beyond that. But, like, Roy Jones, I don't got to watch that. I don't need to watch anything with Logan Paul. I don't need to watch Floyd Mayweather run around. I don't need to watch, Manny Pacquiao. Dude, stop. Why don't you just build the sports up legitimately again, with real young talent that can actually fight, and then, we'll watch. I don't need to watch YouTubers or this or that. But at least for one night, I at least had a modicum of appreciation for what Netflix was doing. Now, I don't want to see him on it. I don't want to see the NFL on Prime Video or Netflix or whatever. So we'll see. Now, that was the premise of that article I read today. We only got 60 seconds left. Alex, is there anything that the NFL can do to really kill the Golden Goose?
I don't think so. No. It's just the way it is. I'm used to it now. Almost Thursday Night Football, it's going to be on Prime. I don't think there's anything they can do at this point.
All right. I think, 20 years from now or whatever, maybe we lose appreciation for the NFL or whatever. But for right now, they're just riding that money train. By the way, there's also, I'll throw this in. We got to get to the Broncos schedule, but also Woody Page was telling a story about the John Elway trade, which is pretty incredible, right? And I think I know who his source was. And I'm going to speculate on that. Why not, right? So, yeah, we'll get into that. Woody Page had the John Elway trade, and he didn't report it. We'll get into that. We'll get into the Broncos schedule as well. It's the Dan Jacobs Show here on a Sunday morning.
Denver, Vegas. The Western Conference Final is here, and this city is hyped. The Avalanche, the Golden Knights, a trip to the Stanley Cup Final on the line. We're riding through it with you, and we're just as obsessed as you are. Every take, every call, every moment that makes you jump out of your seat, we're living it with you. Mornings, middays, afternoons, it's Avalanche playoff coverage all day long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Jacob's Law, 303-LAW-4040, 303-LAW-4040. And we do. We know that you're not looking to get rich. That's not why people call 303-LAW-4040. They call and they feel bad. Like, they don't want to call a lawyer and they don't want to sue anybody, but they're just hurt and they don't know what to do and they've never been through it before. So that's why we're there. We're to help. And we just settled a case I was really proud of. Very same situation. This guy was very seriously injured, but he's like, if I have to sue he lives in a small town. He's like, if I have to sue my neighbor, I just don't want to do anything. I'll just grin and bear it. And we're like, no, you don't have to feel bad about that. Your neighbor bought insurance so that for this very reason. Now, the insurance company's not playing ball. We'll make them play ball. And you know what? We did. And we got $1.5 million for this guy. And he never had to sue his neighbor. We're here to help. We'll get you feeling better. We'll get you compensated fairly for what you were put through. 303-LAW-4040. I hope you never need that number, but save it in your phone just in case. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303-LAW-4040.
Pet owners and parents know the struggle. Every time dogs or kids go outside, they track mud right back in. If you're tired of scrubbing floors, you need Muddy Mat, the anti-mud mat that cleans paws and shoes before they ruin your home. Only Muddy Mat features thousands of ultra-soft microfibers that are 5 times more absorbent than ordinary mats, instantly trapping dirt and water to protect your floors. Put it by every door, under pet bowls, in the kitchen for spills. It even makes a perfect bath mat, and it's 100% machine washable, so cleanup is effortless.
Since getting Muddy Mat, I don't worry about what my dog gets into. His paws are clean the second he steps off.
No more mopping. I love it. Thank you, Muddy Mat.
Right now, get a free medium Muddy Mat with your order of 2 or more mats at buymuddymat.com. This offer is only available at buymuddymat.com. That's BUYMUDDYMAT.com. Don't wait. Get your free Muddy Mat today at buymuddymat.com.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here for Xfinity. Imagine Wi-Fi so intelligent, it actually fixes itself when something goes wrong. Imagine Wi-Fi that reaches every corner of your home, every room, every floor, every dead zone gone. Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together seamlessly. Now imagine it's built for speed and power by fiber. A network with 99.999% reliability. So whether you're streaming, gaming, or working from home, it just works. And that's not just fast, that's a security blanket for your entire network, protecting what matters most. Now, here's the best part. Lock in 5 years of predictability at the same price, no contracts, no commitments. Everything you need is included, your data, our best equipment, and the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi, all of it. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply, select plans only.
Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Wheat Ridge on Kipling Street behind Natural Grocers now through May 26th for the grand opening sale. Get a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate with the purchase of 5 quarts of Mobil 1 Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil for $35.95. Plus, buy one, get one free Coca-Cola products at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Terry Wickstrom. I want to tell you about a financial product I personally really believe in. A home equity conversion mortgage from Mad River Mortgage, your reverse mortgage specialist. The HECM program's only requirements are to live in the home, do basic upkeep, pay property tax and homeowner's insurance. No monthly mortgage payment is required. For more information, contact my friend Mike Rabin at 303-396-2804 or go to madrivermortgage.com. NMLS 1504779.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan.
All right, halfway home here on the Easy Like Sunday morning edition of the Dan Jacobs Show. A couple texts to get to. Brian in Evans wants to know, he says, Dan, you say you like posting food pics. Well, where can we see them? I don't do a lot on Twitter anymore. I don't know. Twitter just kind of died off for me. I was never a big Twitter guy, but I thought, well, when I started doing the show on Mile High Sports, I was like, well, I got to have it. My partner was like, you got to have a Twitter account, man. So I do have a Twitter account. I do post, like yesterday, I posted a lot of pics from the barbecue at Dan T. Jacobs Law on Twitter. And then, so here's my deal with Facebook. I'm a big Facebook guy. So definitely do me a favor, follow the Jacobs Law page. And I'll post some food pics on there as well, because I'm the barbecue lawyer, right? But also, I don't accept friend requests all that often from listeners, because that's kind of my personal thing, right? Like Facebook. But what I will do is I will post. You can follow me on there now, I think. I will post a lot of things. I'll still so that's how you can find us on there. Now, this text was eerie. Somebody said, oh, where is it? Oh, yeah. Was this guy at my house yesterday? Bert, were you at the party? Bert in Broomfield? He says, did you make your own potato salad? How about pasta salad? If you have good ribs, you have to have pasta salad and sweet tea. Bert, how did you know that? So I didn't make the potato salad, but I brought in my man Hector from Tampa for the deal. And by the way, that wild pass, I bought him. So at the beginning of the year, I got tired of him always giving excuses like he couldn't come to a football game or this or that because he couldn't afford airfare, And so I bought him a Frontier Wild Pass. I'm like, no more excuses.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. Do you know how much it was for him to fly round trip for this party?
Ooh, I'll say $199.
$31.
Wow.
That's $16 or $32. So anyway, he does amazing potato salad. He made the potato salad. My sister made some macaroni salad. And then, yes, we had it was called a lemonade bar. My daughter set this up. She works at Starbucks. So it's got lemonade, it's got sweet tea, and then it had like a whole, those syrup shot, bottles where you pump them. Yeah, like the coffee shops. All sorts of fruity, and you could make whatever syrup, whatever drink you wanted. But yes, we had sweet tea. So that was cool. I don't know how Bert knew that, but yeah. All right, so a couple more texts here. I don't really care about college football anymore. I thought that was unkillable. I'm probably in the minority. The gambling part of football has brought in a different group of people, though it's probably even bigger. But I wonder how long that's going to last. So for me, for example, I used to do that when I was in college, right? And I had the offshore account and all that stuff. It just doesn't interest me anymore. Right? Like I don't do it. And I know it's a novelty now because you can do it. Like I don't have an account. I don't have like any of those accounts.
It's good for you.
Yeah. Like, I just pick winners right here, baby. I just do the fan football pick 'em. It's funny. We're at the store.
So I can't ask
stuff for the party. And I go, I'm just going to pay for this using my football knowledge. Right? Because I'm at King Soup and I champion and all that stuff. Like I've got thousands of dollars worth of gift cards in there because my football knowledge buys my groceries. So I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what are you talking about? Boom. Just peacocking around, just talking a little smack. I do that. That's all I need to do. But I grew out of it. I heard, it's the same thing like with, for some people with like the legal weed, right? Like when it was here, like I had a buddy growing up that was the pothead guy. He was the pot guy, right? It was illegal. Like you had to hide it. And then once it became legal, he doesn't even do it anymore. It's crazy. And what I heard was my wife told me
it's not cool anymore.
I guess it's not cool anymore, right? Like there was 250,000 people from California moving back to California because they don't want to be in Colorado anymore. Like how many people did we get that moved here because of legal weed? And now it's legal everywhere, So I don't know if the gambling model is sustainable or not. But yeah, we are like college football, I think will be fairly dead in 5 years. Unless they really reform it. Why would you the thing about college football, it was all emotional attachment before and you liked a school because you went there or you rooted for them growing up or whatever. When and they're trying to re-up every year and they're trying to, hold their school up for money every year. Like how do you get whatever? Like how are you going to be experts on that every year? It's just too much. Like if they make it so much of a hassle, it's basically like the reason I'm still hanging on to college. Interestingly, one of the things that they also do though is they can afford whoever they want, right? But their coach, Mario Cristobal, says, if a guy comes in and he says, how much can you give me? I move on. I don't want him. Like I want guys that want to be here, that are interested in when they can start playing and what opportunities they're going to get. And then I'm willing to pay for those guys, whatever I got to pay, because I'll beat out whoever I got to beat out. But if that's all that guy cares about, forget it, because I'm going to have to be paying him. He's never going to be happy. He's not here because he wants to play. He's here because he wants to get paid. And then you got to renegotiate with those guys every year. If they have a good year, he's going to stick you up for more money. And so that's the way they are. Like that's at least, a good philosophy,
I like that.
Yeah. But so with the NFL, I want to say they're going to be king forever, but nobody's king forever, right? Horse racing was king for a long time. They killed that sport. Boxing was huge. They killed that sport. I don't want to say Major League Baseball's dead, but there's no doubt it at one point was America's pastime. It was the most popular sport. And now, I don't know where to rank MLB because I don't watch it. But is it third? Is it third? No, probably not. Like if you break down college basketball and pro basketball and college football and pro football and hockey, where does it fall?
Yeah, I'd say it's behind college football for sure.
So behind the NFL, behind college football.
Behind the NBA.
Behind the NBA. All right.
I think it's right around there.
It's right around. So they're
fourth.
They're fourth or fifth.
Mm-hmm.
They were the number one dog.
Yeah.
And they're talking. I've heard they're looking at adding as many as 8 expansion teams in the next decade for the NFL.
Whoa.
Right, going to like Alabama and this and that. Dude, there aren't enough good quarterbacks on the planet to sustain 32 teams right now.
Yeah.
I think the NFL's a little worse off. Like is anybody excited that the Seahawks or even if the Patriots would have won were the champions? Like I kind of miss the days of dynasties in the NFL because it was good football, right? Like I don't know, the Rams sneaking through and winning one with Matt Stafford. Like I don't know, man. Like it just doesn't do anything for me. Like the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Versus, well, come on.
Get these one-off Super Bowls. You know, and then they're bad again.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then all of a sudden, the Patriots went from 0 to like they're in the Super Bowl, and then they were garbage in the Super Bowl. Like I don't know, man. Like I want good teams. I like greatness. Like how many? Like it's hard to list 5 great quarterbacks in the NFL right now, right? Like you guys were talking about the top 5 all time.
Yeah.
Earlier on the show with Kyle and Cello, like it's hard to find 5 really good, great quarterbacks. I don't know that there are 5 great quarterbacks in the league right now. Like currently great. Like I don't think there are. Like Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback, but he's not great anymore. Like I don't know. Are there 5 great NFL quarterbacks right now?
I mean, I thought there were 4 going into last season: Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Mahomes. And then Jackson didn't have a great year. Mahomes tears his ACL. Burrow's hurt almost the whole year.
Yeah.
So,
well, you were wrong on Lamar Jackson. He was fun to watch, good, talented, not a great. Like he, flames out in the playoffs every year. Like that's never going to be sustainable. And now he's down. Now he's going downhill.
yeah.
So yeah, like I don't know. Like I'll look into a little further, but so when you're struggling to have 5 like star quarterbacks, you're going to go to 40 teams. That could kill the golden goose, right? The shine could wear off on the gambling. Also, the level of play from college balls could fall drastically because they don't really commit to developing their games in college. So. All right, so we'll continue the conversation rolling. Coming up next, I do want to get to this Woody Page story. We'll also do some Broncos stuff. It's the Dan Jacobs Show here on The Fan.
Summer is calling, and we're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. You get 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, pop-up tent, and Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and did we mention you also get a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler? Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. We'll see you at the lake. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Jacob's Law. I was supposed to do Deer Trail. We're going to do Jacob's Law. 303 Law 4040. 303 Law 4040. You save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. I don't want you. I say this all the time. If the insurance companies did the right thing, if they provided the coverage that we as the public paid for, then we would have no problem. But I met with a couple last week. They said, Dan, we were just really surprised. I thought my insurance company and I were on the same team. Like I pay them for the insurance and they're denying my claim. And I said, yep, it's a common misconception. People think your own insurance company, their loyalty is to their shareholders and to maximize profits. Okay. Our loyalty is to our clients. We're there to maximize your compensation when somebody else injures you in a car accident. Go ahead, save that number in your phone, 303-LAW-4040. That's 303-LAW-4040.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you, gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses, plus free delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life sleep.
Hey, Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Summer is coming in hot. Don't wait. Beat the rush with an early bird cooling system tune-up and inspection for only $49 from Rocks Heating and Air. They'll inspect your system and keep you cool when everyone else is scrambling. Call ROX Rocks Heating and Air today and schedule your tune-up before the end of May. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home and auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If your fence is falling apart, don't wait until it fails completely. Loose posts, broken panels, no privacy, it only gets worse. Fence Guys has been serving the Denver Metro for over 20 years and was voted Best of Mile High 3 years in a row. They handle new fences and repairs, wood, vinyl, iron, and more. Get it fixed right away. Visit DenverFenceGuys.com for your free estimate. Fence Guys, they don't just build fences, they stand behind them.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports 105.
McIntosh. Talk about the Irv Brown Scholarship over at Metro State University. I don't know. Well, I guess that was a little bit before your time, Alex. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, they were, on Channel 4, and like Marcia Neville would do the prep coverage, like high school, and she would go to, people just go crazy. They'd be like, Marcia, screaming, because she would go to the games. And if your school was, had the honor of having Marcia come to one of your games,
okay, yeah,
pretty darn cool.
They do that today, like with the 9 News prep rally.
Yeah, but it's not the same, dude. Not the same. This is legendary. I'm sure they do it. I do remember the 9 News prep rally, but Marcia was the GOAT of high school prep sports coverage. And then, Mark McIntosh, just a smooth operator.
Ooh.
Just a smooth guy. I think he played quarterback or something in Missouri. He was a pretty good athlete as well. Now, throw that football a little bit. Yeah, Missouri kid, good guy, great hair.
Who was his high school coach?
Yeah, coached by Mike Dvorsky, that type thing. So really going to be fun having them come in. We'll share some good stories, Irv Brown stories. If you get ahead of the game, if you have some funny Irv Brown stories, go ahead and throw them on the RamosLaw.com text line or our new YouTube chat, which I'll read this one. Somebody's asking about my barbecue and said, did Zach stop by with his Pegasus ribs? And I actually texted that to Zach. I'm like, hey man, because I like to give credit where credit is due. Oh, Jesse Lopez, 6, because I was giving him a hard time. Now, Alex, you don't know about this, but I've nicknamed, so Zach we go back. We have like a little jousting session, right? Because I was talking about, I'm a good guy to invite to your barbecue, right? Because I'm not just going to come in and eat up all your food. And typically I bring something, not to toot my own horn, far be it from me to pat myself on the back on the Dan Jacobs show, right? Right, Chad Interest? But I generally, other times I have this adult baked beans recipe that people go crazy for. I'll bring that. Or, if I'm feeling really feisty, I'll bring a whole brisket, and just carve it right there on site. And people go crazy. I'll do that for poker games or barbecues or whatever. And Zach buys like, get a load of you. Oh, look at me rolling in with my own grill.
Showing off.
Trying to show up, another man's barbecue. Shame on you, Dan Jacobs. Shame on you. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, you are not coming to my party. All right? It's my party. I run the grill, and I want people talking about my stuff. You coming in here with your own carving station. Get out of town. And so I've yet to been invited to Zach's barbecue. And I think I was talking to Stokely one time, or I just heard Stokely talking about it. Zach got a Traeger 5-6 years ago. He's getting into the game, which mad respect. I love welcoming people into the Pitmaster community. And he's bragging about his ribs, right? And he's like, yeah, I got this. He thinks he's special, like he's got some special recipe. He's like, yeah, I do this thing where I smoke them for 3 hours, and then I put them in foil for 2 hours. Zach, it's called the Johnny. Like, literally, Johnny Trigg invented that, and he won, 6 world championships for ribs with that recipe. Like, it's on the internet, dude. Like, I used it yesterday, and people love the ribs. Like, it's not special, but, Zach likes his ribs. Cool, I respect that. And I think it was Brandon Stokely that was like, yeah, Zach says he makes great ribs, but never seen him. Never, I hosted a show with him for many years. Never got to taste these supposedly great ribs. And so I said, yeah, they are. They're kind of like unicorns, right? They're the Zach By unicorn ribs. You hear about how great they are, but nobody's ever seen them, right? And so I'm talking smack on that. And then Zach, a couple weeks ago, was like, hey, I don't remember ever getting an invite to a Dan Jacobs barbecue. I said, you know what? Good point. Beep, beep, beep. May 16th, 1 p.m. Here's the address. I expected, I was talking about the show last week, I was expecting unicorn ribs. Nope, didn't see him.
Still waiting.
Yeah, still waiting.
Still waiting.
Still waiting on those mythical unicorn ribs. All right, so this Woody Page thing, I just saw this. We'll do this right before the top of the hour. Just saw this last night. Woody's telling a story. So the John Elway trade, right, with the Colts coming down. Woody has a source. He knows it's coming. But it's what, 1983? There's no internet. Sports talk radio doesn't even exist yet. Here we didn't have an evening paper, right? So he has a source, and I think I know the source. I think knowing that Woody, and this is just pure speculation, I actually almost texted Woody and asked him, and then I'm like, wait a minute, you can't ask a real journalist what his sources are, you moron, right? Like, hey, Woody, is your source this guy? Like, he's going to go, oh, yeah, that's my source. Like, you got to protect your sources.
Can't reveal it.
Can't reveal your sources. But I think, if I had to guess, it was the actual owner at the time, Edgar Kaiser Jr. They were tight. Like, Woody has a great story about how he went to go interview the Edgar Kaiser Jr. as the owner of the Broncos. And he's like, well, the secretary calls and says, meet me at the airport. They end up on like a 9-day tour. Kaiser's like, get on the plane. He's like, I can't get on the plane. He's like, get on the plane right now. And they go to New York and Paris and all this stuff. So my guess would be he got it straight from the Broncos owner, but he couldn't report it because he had nowhere to go. There was no outlet for Woody Page. So he just had to sit on it and then it broke with everybody. And it's, the next day, probably my guess was it broke maybe on the newscast that night. Those were newscasts were big. But can you imagine that type of story? Changed the entire fate of the franchise. And you're like, oh, I wish they would invent something in the future where you could like talk to people instantly about sports or post things on airway, the internet, get Al Gore on the phone. We'll invent some internet. So,
wow, anyway. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, that may be the biggest move in Denver Broncos history. Changed the complexion of everything.
I don't think it's a maybe.
I mean, made him, yeah.
I mean, that has to be. That's the number one. And maybe Peyton Manning. I'm trying to think. Peyton Manning, number 2. I'm a little torn. I heard you guys talking about, you guys definitely had Peyton Manning slam dunk in your top 5 all NFL quarterbacks. I'm very torn on Peyton Manning because I love him as a player. Fantastic. I love how he revolutionized things and this and that. But if you guys are going to slam Dan Marino for not getting a championship, I don't know how.
Oh, that was Cello.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he was like out running down Dan Marino like he wasn't the greatest passer of all time. Okay, Cello.
Yeah, who would you say when they were both playing was the better quarterback, Marino or Elway? Because their careers are very similar as far as years.
Right. Well, Dan Marino was unquestionably the better quarterback, but Elway had more success, and like Elway didn't have more. Elway had to get Hall of Famers to get his rings, right? Wow. But like if you go back and look at the stats, Dan Marino was a mile ahead of everybody else, right, including John Elway. Probably had 20,000 more passing yards than John Elway or something like that. Like he revolutionized throwing the football when before they had to they literally changed the game for Peyton Manning because they want Peyton Manning. Patriots just mugged in a playoff game. They just destroyed the receivers for the Colts. They're like, well, we can't have that. Like Peyton Manning's one of our stars. We got to. Marino didn't get a play in that era. Elway didn't get a play in that era. Like they were just phenomenal. And so for me with Peyton Manning, it's a little bit of an issue of, dude, if you're going to kill Dan Marino, Manning basically had one when everybody thought he was the most dominant quarterback in the sport, and he really couldn't win in the postseason. Like he really struggled with it, right? Like I don't give him the credit. He's, he gets part of the credit. He gets as much credit as like C.J. Anderson, right? But like, been playing in that game, like he was terrible. He couldn't throw the football. So I only give him credit for like one Super Bowl. And so if that's the criteria, like how high up can you rank Peyton Manning? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like he's probably behind Patrick Mahomes already, right? So I don't know.
That's
all
fair.
Right. Yeah, 2 hours down, one more to go. Special guest coming up in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. If you want to share some Earth Brown stories, that'll be fantastic. It's the Dan Jacobs Show here on The Fan.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drives Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com. DeerTrailMeatCo.com. It's so cool to be able to have access to great quality beef. Like one of the hits of the party yesterday, smoked tenderloin. Now, most of the time nowadays, you cannot afford to smoke tenderloin. It's up to $25 or $30 a pound if you try and get it at the grocery store. Here's a beautiful thing about DeerTrailMeatCo.com, though. You pay one low price for whatever your bundle is. You just want to dip your right, but you'll pay sometimes up to 75% off of what you pay at the grocery store. But that includes steaks. That includes tenderloins and ribeyes and flat irons, and you can get picanha, all that stuff, plus your ground beef and your roasts and your rounds. You can make jerky, all that stuff at an unbelievable price at a fraction of what you pay at the grocery store. And they deliver it to your front door. Well, what if it's not any good? It's going to be great. But you know why? Because they'll give you your money back if you're DeerTrailMeatCo.com.
Hi folks, Dan Cicchini, Done Right Home Improvements. My wife Susan and I started Done Right in our garage in 1985, doing a little of everything. We've grown to be one of the largest companies of our kind in Colorado, specializing in kitchens, baths, counters, floors, finished basements, and windows and doors. Serving Colorado 40 years. And what an adventure it's been. We've learned that the fundamentals of a successful business never change. That is, treat people like you want to be treated, do good work, price fairly, and back up what you say. That's our success formula. Here's our son Todd.
That's right, Dad. Been hearing that my whole life from you and Mom. Folks, whether it's a first-class kitchen renovation, an awesome turnkey bathroom remodel, a full-service basement finish for some extra space, or replacement windows and doors that will wow you, give us a call. With an 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about, now couldn't be a better time.
Kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, finished basements, windows, and doors. You have our word. We'll treat you right at Done Right. Call us to reserve your spot in our schedule. 303-722-2295, 800-362-8370, or drhi.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Are you looking to buy a home that fits your senior needs? Consider a home equity conversion mortgage for purchase. With this innovative financing option, you can use the equity in your current home or savings as the down payment. With the FHA-insured HECM reverse mortgage loan, you may be able to buy a higher value home and keep substantial cash for savings with no required payments. For more information, call Mike Rabin at 303-396-2804 or go to madrivermortgage.com, NMLS 1504779.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs.
All right. Final hour of the Dan Jacobs Show. Come up here in about 30 minutes. Got a cool thing. I'm actually going to give you a website now. I want to see what we can do to help out the old Irv Brown Scholarship Fund. So MSU Denver, msudenver.me/Irv. Go ahead and start checking that website out now, and we'll tell you more about it here in about a half hour. Tour Irv Brown. They're doing some great things for honor, not only honor Irv, but to also, help the next generation of communicators over there at MSU, where, by the way, Irv was the head baseball coach. Little known fact about Irv Brown. I worked with him for a long time before I figured that out. But he's like, yeah, I was a baseball coach. It was only like a year or two. But, yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right, I want to do a little bit on the Broncos schedule, and then I'll get into a couple funny Irv stories. Denver.me/IRV. That's /Irv. Broncos schedule came out. I kind of agree. We had James Merrillat on just under a couple hours ago. And I know, like, if you go to DenverSports.com, there's an article about, I think Andrew Mason wrote it, about, wow, this first 6 games. I heard you guys, Alex, talking about it with Cello and Kyle earlier today. And, yeah, at first glance, it looks like, oh, man, really tough start to the schedule. But then you look at it, and a couple things you have to look at. You were talking about it, Alex, or you guys were talking about it like, well, if they're looking at that schedule and they're scared, and what went through my brain is, they're not. He may be scared. The year before, we're like, Broncos I think the over-under in Vegas for the Broncos was like 6.5. And Sean Payton just came out and said, the next time I only win 6 games will be the first. What
a quote.
Yeah. And that's how they view it. They're not scared of Jacksonville or the Niners. Right. And we were kind of getting on the Seahawks a little bit earlier. Yeah. The Seahawks are the defending champions. First off, what did the Broncos do last year against the defending Super Bowl champions?
10 set or against
the Eagles, right?
Oh, they beat them. They came back in the fourth quarter and beat them.
Yeah, they don't care about the defending Super Bowl champions. And by the way, is anybody going, oh, I'm afraid of the Seahawks because they won the Super Bowl last year? No. They're going to be a tough game, right? But it's at home, right? So, yeah, you got the Chiefs. Dude, I've been picking the Chiefs to beat the Broncos every single game for like 8 straight years. Those days are over, at least for next year. Now, a year from now, when Patrick Mahomes is back and they're right and they get rid of the Travis Kelce contracts and they get rid of some of the bloated contracts and they've retooled a little bit. Okay. But the Chiefs, not really going to be anything to worry about next year. Like, you still get one more year of, don't necessarily have to worry about the Chiefs right now. Right. So I'm okay with that. Jags and Broncos, I'm not worried about that. And then you got the Rams coming in. Like, a lot of these games are, like two of them are home games, Rams and Broncos. Well, why would the Broncos be afraid of the Rams? Rams are a good team, but
they made it just as far in the playoffs,
right? It was like, ooh, Matt Stafford. Like when your quarterback's worried about is he or is he not going to retire, how good of a team are you? Like really? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're good, they're formidable, but I don't expect the Rams to come in here and beat the Broncos. Like I'm not. All right, it's on the road, it's tough, but I don't know. Like it's a shine off. Good at building healthy teams. The Broncos weren't good at that for a long time either, right? But like, how long are we going to wait for them to finally break? I mean, they got into the Super Bowl a couple times or whatever, but so that has led to this expectation that, well, eventually they're going to win a couple. That if they ever were healthy, maybe we could have a different discussion, but they're not. They're not healthy. I don't know. Like, I'm not quaking in my boots. And then the Chargers are the Chargers, right? They're going to win. Like, sometimes they're going to beat you. Sometimes they're going to whiz down their leg. Like, they're the Chargers.
Chargers going to Charger.
Yeah, like what happened to all these guys like Marilat and all these other guys on the station that were like, well, the Chargers got the real coach and Harbaugh this and Harbaugh that and blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Like Sean Payton's done a lot better with the Broncos than Harbaugh. Oh, I didn't say anything about Sean Payton. I always like you talk to these guys, they're always like, I love Sean's barbecue last night because Chad Andrus is one of these guys, right? Zach Bye's one of these guys. Will Peterson's one of these guys. All these guys on this station. I remember pretty much verbatim all the ridiculous takes, right? And I put them in my back pocket and I bring them up and I challenge them when they come on the show. Or yesterday afternoon, we're at this barbecue. I got my good buddy Dave Cohen. He's the exact same way. You always complain that I'm distorting what you say or whatever, but I say the difference with Dave is I have receipts because he's put them all either in a text message or in Facebook Messenger. So all I do is
easy access to it, right?
Yeah, I just do screenshots and tweet them back at him, right? It's like my buddy Hector, same thing, killing people. I just put in the search Cam Ward, Cam Ward's garbage, blah blah blah. Now he pretends like he never said that. So I just screenshot him and I text them back to them. I said, Dave, the difference with you is I just send you the text. Well, yeah, you're sending me texts from 5 years ago. I'm like, yeah, because that's what you said. When you said Georgiev did great, well, he was great back then. No, he wasn't. They lost to the Kraken. They lost to an expansion team in the first round. Obviously, he wasn't great. But now you act like you never said Georgiev wasn't the problem. Okay. See, but it's different with the fan hosts because it's just going out over the air, and then they pretend like they didn't say that stuff. So it was kind of a fun moment that, we had with that, with calling out Chad Andrus to Chad Andrus. Like I had Will Peterson on like a week ago, and I was bringing up something he had said like the day before on the drive. Like he's pretending. Oh, what was it? Pretending that it wasn't a big deal.
Was it the goalie situation?
No, you know what it was? It was the George Payton stuff.
Oh.
Right, because George Payton had just gotten a contract, and everybody, it's the same all across the board here. Everybody loves George Payton, right? And they want to pretend that he wasn't one of the worst general managers in NFL history when it was his job to be the general manager. And Will's like glossing it over, very James Marilat-esque. Like, remember what James did earlier in the show today where he's like, no, I said, I'm like, no, you killed them. You gave passing mention of one thing, and then you killed the Avs. You're like, well, the Avs are good. They're winning, but and then he just goes on a 4-minute rant about how the Avs are in trouble and the Avs this and the Avs that. So that way, no matter what happens, he can go, no, Dan, I came on your show and told you how great the Avs were doing. And I'm like, no, dude, you don't get credit for that. We're not like, giving you a free pass on something like that. And it was the same thing with Will. He's just like, well, George Payton certainly had his bumps in the road. Bumps in the road. He made perhaps, I don't want to call it the worst trade in NFL history because we do have the trade for the guy that went from the Browns, Deshaun Watson, right? Because guaranteed money. But by the way, that's what George Payton wanted to do. George Payton wanted to trade for Russell Wilson and give him over $250 million guaranteed. And thank goodness Greg Penner said, I don't know a lot about football, but I do know about money and running a business, and that sounds dumb. We're not doing that. And so they only gave him $80-some million guaranteed. But so makes first off, makes by far the worst trade in the team history, probably second worst trade in NFL history. Followed that, chased it, said, here's a chaser for you. Chased that with one of the worst contracts, if not maybe, I guess, again, Deshaun Watson's got to be the worst. The Russell Wilson contract, probably the second worst. I don't know, maybe the Tua. No, at least the Tua contract's not as bad because they at least got one great season out of him. So he's got, we can give him a pass for the Russell Wilson stuff that set the team back 2 or 3 years because of the contracts and the trades and the lots of draft picks and all that. But even if you gave him a pass on that, you still had the Randy Gregory contract, which is terrible. You had him getting badly outplayed by Von Miller. Oh, and by the way, maybe the worst coaching hire. Like, he got pretty much everything wrong that you could get wrong that mattered. Oh, big free agent bust. Yep, Randy Gregory. Big, horrible, franchise-defining, keep us horrifically bad trade. Yep, got that in Russell Wilson. Contract to go with it. Oh, and you hired one of the worst coaches in NFL history, whom, by the way, the owner of the team, the brand new baby owner of the team, had to step in and say, dude, you're not going to fire him after the Christmas massacre. I'm firing him. I'm stepping in, and I may fire you. I'm going to let you, I need a little help, tracking down phone numbers while I do your job for you and find a coach to lead this team. So you may get to stick around, but you're no longer in charge, and you're no longer really going to be calling the shots as a GM. And by the way, you won't be picking the coach. I will, even though I've only been doing this for a little while. And so Will's like, well, I mentioned that he had his hiccups. Like, those aren't hiccups. Because through the good graces of Sean Payton, found what he's really good at. He's good at being a really good number two. He's not good at making the big decisions. Thankfully, Sean Payton does a pretty good job at that most of the time. So I was giving Will a hard time because he's like, I didn't say that. I'm like, you just said it. What do you mean you didn't say that? You literally just said it. Like, we can go to DenverSports.com, go to podcasts and past shows, go to the drive, and listen to your words. So the record is recorded that way, but anyway, that's what I was talking about. All right, coming up next, I'm just going to tell a couple of Irv Brown stories, and then we're going to have something pretty cool here in the next segment. We're going to have, in fact, I've told they're in the luxurious 104.3 The Fan green room right now. They're hanging out with other celebrities, and there's a fruit tray and seltzer water and all that stuff. They're hanging out in there, but here they are, Marcia Neville and Mark McIntosh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a couple of Irv Brown stories, and then we're going to have them jump on the mic as well. In fact, let's just they're here. Get them in. We do need one more. You got a headphone for Marcia and for Mark McIntosh. So a couple Irv Brown stories that I wanted to share. And Mark, I don't know if you even know this one, but I'll get to that at the final part of the segment. But a couple cool stories with Irv Brown. So he came here to work at the Fan. I was at in fact, I think I was still Marcia's intern at the time. I was wrapping up my career at DU. I was interning over at Channel 4. And Irv and Joe come over. And they have this Rolodex. And they're like, yeah, call any of these guys you want. And we're looking at this Rolodex. We're like, oh, yeah, Bobby Knight, Roy Williams. Yeah, okay, they're just going to pick up the phone when we call. And he goes, yeah, do it. So we call Bobby Knight. And he answers. And he picks up. Right? And we're like, holy cow, Irv's got some pull, right? And so I get to work with Irv. And for people that don't know, Irv was the top college basketball official in the country for a while. He worked like 6 Final Fours. And this is actually Irv's favorite story that he told most often. So I said, hey, you've got to be big friends with Bobby Knight. He goes, no, I never hang out with him. I'm like, BS, or if I call BS, he goes, no. He said, in fact, that's why Bobby Knight respected me, because he thought I was a pro at being a referee. And he says, in fact, my favorite Bobby Knight moment was the Final Four, and Bobby's trying to bully me. He's trying to bully me around and intimidate me before the game. And so it's the finals, and both of us, and he says to my partner, he goes, "You've never worked one of my games before, right?" He goes, "Yeah." "I just want you to promise me that you won't let Irv Brown bleep it up." "That's fine. You can say what you want about me. But there's 20,000 fans listening, watching this game right now, millions more watching on TV around the world, and you're about to turn around and go back to your bench, and your fly's down. How do you like that?" And Bobby Knight, what's he do? He looks down at his fly, which of course is not down. He looks at it, and he goes, "Irv Brown, you sir!" He starts cursing him out. Irv Brown pulled the "your fly is down" gag on Bobby Knight seconds before tip-off of the national championship game. Unbelievable. Who else on earth would do that? Marcia Neville to my left, Mark McIntosh to my right. I'm going to finish this segment with, I don't know if you guys know this story, but it's one I actually tell every once in a while. I get asked to go to a school and give a talk or whatever. And this, because I have taken this to heart, and it's my favorite thing. If you remember one thing about Irv Brown, it's this. So Irv Brown passed away Super Bowl Sunday. What was it, 5 years ago? Yeah. And, we did the big service and all that. And his son, Greg, who's a coach, who Irv was immensely proud of, he comes up and he gives a eulogy. It's fantastic. And he says, growing up with Irv was a privilege. It was a pleasure. But I asked him one time, Dad, how do you make it? What's the key to success in life? And Irv, without missing a beat, he says, easy. Guts and personality. That's all you need. And Greg says, "Well, what do you mean, Dad? What about talent?" He goes, "Nope." He says, "I've been around sports all my life, and I've seen more wasted talent than I know what to do with. People are God-given a talent all the time, and they waste it. But if you have the guts and the personality to walk into a room and to do what others would be too embarrassed to do, you're going to make it. And if you don't worry about what other people think and you just keep your eye on the ball, you will go very far in this world, son." So that's the key. And I know that I had the pleasure of working with him as a very young man while I was at DU, and then later as their producer for 9 years. And it was not lost on me the importance of the mentorship that I was seeing on a daily basis, the way Irv Brown conducted himself and the confidence he had, and the I knew I was lucky to be able to experience that and to see him and to see the way he would work a room, and he made it about other people, and he was a great communicator. It's just really awesome. A privilege. So to welcome into the program, Mark McIntosh and Marcia Neville, legends in their own rights, the GOATs. Thank you guys for coming in.
It is so great to be here. It's so great to hear your stories, Dan, and to see you after all these years.
Yes.
You said intern back at Channel 4.
Yeah.
So we
What
knew
years
you
were
back
you an
at your-
intern there?
I didn't. I remember this. You were a legend. I never met you. I did meet Marcia. So I was there when I was at DU, 1998 to 2000.
Okay.
But you were still there, right? But you
I
did the
was-
mornings. and
Yeah, I had
weekends.
shifted over to the morning shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this will make you guys feel good. Well, this is a funny story about Vic. I came in, I had gone to Northeastern Junior College in Sterling, so I wasn't watching the news because I was out of the market. So I come in, I didn't know who Vic was.
Oh.
Right? So Chris Perkins, who you guys know, he's giving me the tour. And he goes, "This is Vic." And I go, "Oh, hi. What do you do?"
Nobody ever knew. Nobody ever knew.
That's good for Vic to hear every once in a while.
Yeah. And so he goes, "Well, I'm writing the sportscast. That's what I'm doing." I'm like, "Oh." And but so this, I said, "Oh, you work at Altitude." I was Vic's intern. And she looks at me just dumbfounded. She goes, "It was his intern? Like, you're so old." Dan, how old is Vic? If you were his intern, I'm like, "Well, I'm not that old." But so I texted Vic. I'm like, "Man, how old are you?" So I was, Marcia was hanging around. So yeah, I was an intern back in the 1900s.
Well, and you came on then as sports producer, right? Did you
No,
work weekends?
I never did. Eric Christensen did that.
Still there?
Who's still,
Blake Olson was there before he went on full-time at Channel 9. No, I actually, because I got a job here, and then Mosier got me a treat. If you're a team in high school, and Rangeview every once in a while, kids, we were thrilled to have you come and cover one of our high school games.
We were thrilled to be out there. Remember the helicopter over the football
That's
games
right.
with Mike Silva? I mean, people actually thought I was flying the helicopter. I never told them differently. But Rangeview, my first year here in Denver, 83, 84.
Terry Taylor.
Was Terry Taylor and that basketball team, the first years that Rangeview was open and that they challenged for the championship the first year, lost to Sterling. Now I sound like Irv, right? Remembering all this. They lost to Sterling and ended up, the next year winning the title.
Yes.
So what a great way to kick off a brand new school at a time where Colorado was just starting to grow, and all these high schools, ended up being built over the past, oh my goodness, 40 plus years.
Now not getting any younger.
I'm going to do one more on what you just talked about with Irv and his encyclopedic knowledge.
Oh my.
He remembered everybody. You know what Joe Williams says? He was a walking Rolodex or a walking employment agency. By the way, he got my wife her job that she was at for 20 years. It was amazing. And then she finally quit to come work for me at 303 Law 4040. Just so my wife got laid off, and I come in, I say, Irv and Joe, Kim needs a job. The next day, they come in from a remote and goes, all right, call this guy. This is temporary. Call this guy. Then we'll get her something better. So he's Comcast. But so he was a master of knowing everybody's. Like, I was making fun of you a little bit, Mark. I was like, Mark McIntosh, Missouri kid, hell of a quarterback. Blah, 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 give him a call, right? That's what he would do. So when we used to do emails on the station. And I would read, Irv and Joe, believe it or not, could not read an email. They didn't have email. Irv actually did have email, but, So I would read the emails from the update booth.
And just, who's surprised by that?
Yeah.
None of us. Okay.
Well, I said I came up, my stand-up comedy career almost got started with this joke, which was, hey, do you have the new Irv and Joe app? And I said, it's great. It's awesome. The only problem is it only works 3 hours a day. But so we have an email, right? These guys, brothers, played at Arvada, now went on at UTEP and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he went through all their stats, all state, this or that. And Irv's like, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I don't remember this. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was his kids. Yeah. It was like, no, Irv, it's your kids. He goes, oh my God. Yeah. So
that's great.
We got him on that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give out the website, and I'm really proud. I saw you guys doing something online. I just had a shiver of emotion go through my body. Can you believe that?
Loving that.
The stuff that you guys are doing to honor Irv Brown. Really cool. So let's put up the website again, msudenver.me/Irv. And then we're going to talk about what you guys are doing. It's awesome. You guys can share, obviously, your favorite Irv stories, and maybe we'll raise a few bucks for the scholarship fund.
Right on.
Donation buttons right there.
All right. So msudenver.me/Irv. Mark McIntosh and Marcia Neville in studio. More coming up next.
Denver, Vegas. The Western Conference Final is here, and this city is hyped. The Avalanche is obsessed as you are. Every take, every call, every moment that makes you jump out of your seat, we're living it with you. Mornings, middays, afternoons, it's Avalanche playoff coverage all day long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, Denver's playoff headquarters.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The NBA playoffs are underway, and now you can trade every game on Kalshi. You can also trade on who wins each series, the conference finals, and the championship. San Antonio is currently trading at 19% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out over $500 if they take the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against other people in a live market. No house, no odds makers. And as odds move, you can buy in or out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code SHOT to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
In the playoffs, games are won and lost in overtime, where the pressure is at its highest. In your facility, overtime starts the moment the power goes down. That's when experience makes the difference. For over 40 years, Piper Electric has delivered expert electrical construction, service, and maintenance, including fire alarms and large-scale power distribution. Their licensed electricians are built for high-pressure situations and complex projects. Starting something new? Make the call that keeps you out of overtime. Include Piper Electric. Visit piperelectric.com.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Spine One. Let me ask you a question. You live with back pain, neck pain? Well, my guys at Spine One, they're an emergency room for back pain with same-day appointments. They'll see you and they'll get the journey started. And that's exactly what I did. Whether it's chronic pain, acute pain, work-related, sports-related, doesn't matter. All you got to do is pick up the phone and start your journey just like I did toward pain-free. 303-367-2225. That's 303-367-BACK. Or as always, you can find them online at SpineOne.com.
You're hearing this right now. So are your customers. That's radio. It still works. But your customers don't live in one place anymore. Tonight, they're streaming Denver's biggest game on their TV. Tomorrow, they're deep in the most popular podcast in the country. Next week, all three, all over again. We built one campaign that reaches them everywhere. Radio, streaming TV, podcasts, all under one roof. All measured, all working together. That's not a pitch. That's a system. DenverSports.com. Let's build yours.
Hey, Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Summer is coming in hot. Don't wait. Beat the rush with an early bird cooling system tune-up and inspection for only $49 from Rocks Heating and Air. They'll inspect your system and keep you cool when everyone else is scrambling. Call ROX Rocks Heating and Air today and schedule your tune-up before the end of May. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
O'Reilly. Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Wheat Ridge on Kipling Street behind Natural Grocers now through May 26th for the grand opening sale. Save $2 on all Xerox antifreeze and coolant. Receive 2 times O Rewards points and get $5 back after rebate when you buy $15 or more of select Armor All car care products. Limits apply. See store for details. Stop by your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports.
Did anybody enjoy being themselves more than Les Shapiro? Like, he loved being Les Shapiro and owning this town, right? Like, he just loved it.
So Les Shapiro's story, I was constantly out of money because I didn't make, you got $20 I can borrow? And I always paid him back. But the man had a roll of bills. That was Les Shapiro. He was ready to help at a moment's notice. And I think it was his grandfather had kind of had that persona you're talking about. And that to me was Les. I always made sure I paid him back, though.
Yeah, sweet.
I never learned about the stash of cash
me
he was
neither.
carrying around. But the thing I remember about Les, 2 things. One, his wife Paula was just is amazing, and rest in peace, Les. But nobody worked contact sources more than Les. He would do the show, get ready for the next show, and he just spent all night on the phone with people back there in his little corner.
He loved the phone. He worked the phone.
Yeah, he works the phones.
And Dan, you mentioned the old Rolodex days. Now, our younger viewers or listeners are not going to have any idea what we're talking about, but imagine your contacts list in your phone being 5,000 long and having a relationship with each and every one of those people. And going back to your discussion about Irv and the stories earlier, I mean, Les and Irv, both, the connections were phenomenal.
Last great, kind of story-breaking journalist sportscaster in this town. Like we don't. It's not a thing anymore. It's mainly now beat writers go and they go to press conferences and whatever the coaches tell them they go with, right? Now I want to do this. First off, I have a really important question for you, Mark. But you told me during the break, and I did not know this, and I'm very sorry to hear this, that Pat Brown, Irv's wife, just passed away.
Yeah.
So I want to do something special for Pat Brown. So if we go to msudenver.me/IRV, msudenver.me/Irv, that's the website for the foundation you guys were talking about. It's our scholarship fund where Irv was the head. Did you guys know he was the head baseball coach there? When Irv passed away, Pat and the family gave a kind of a little emotional talking about this. You want to talk about a man that loved two people that were in love, and like he had no eyes. I mean, he was a star, and it would be weird. We'd have waitresses trying to flirt with Irv. Irv would not have any of that, right? He loved Pat Brown, and Irv. I owe a huge part of my success to Irv, and so I think a way to honor Irv is I'm going to do this. You do these things where if you have a contributor that, if the listeners will match, I will kick in a little bit here. So you said a scholarship typically is about $3,000 is what you guys award.
Correct.
Okay.
Per year. Yeah.
I want to do 2 for Pat. I want the listeners to do one, and I'm going to do one. So if the listeners will chip in $3,000, I'm good for the other one.
Wow.
So-
That's phenomenal. And when you talk about the relationship between Irv and Pat, and the chill we're all getting here. For me, as a young journalist, and then as a young married woman, there was Irv and Pat, there was Doug and Big Jane,
yes,
and there was Larry and Bridget Zimmer.
Yeah,
and they were. You could see what you were talking and wanted to emulate as a married person.
It was beautiful. And there's another one though. You forgot Mike Nolan and. Just kidding.
Oh, no. Don't go there.
That was Irv. Every time I heard him speak, he goes, yeah, it's more such and such than Mike Nolan has ex-wives. And he would do that in front of Mike Nolan. It's funny.
That's true. Generous of you, Dan.
So,
and generous of your listeners. We got to hope here.
So msudenver.me/Irv. If you loved listening to Irv in the history of the station, then go donate, and I'll match every dollar up to $3,000.
Well, bless your heart. Thank you so much.
And so I'm curious, Mark McIntosh. I see. So I did a little Googling. You are heavily involved in all this Irv Brown, this stuff honoring Irv Brown.
Right.
Why? What was your relationship?
Oh, I knew you else played a significant role in kind of the building of my brand in this market. When I got hired in '88 by Channel 4, Roger Ogden and Marv Rockford, I was rookie out of
Marv Rockford, I remember that name.
Yeah. They sat me down and, said, welcome to Denver. And basically the thing, and we were the home of the Buffs then. We want you to get in the back pocket of the CU football program because it was an emerging program. And we were the home of the Buffs. And so Irv and Joe, they kind of knew that, and so they knew I flew on the team plane. I was basically embedded inside that football program. I had stories that nobody else had. And so Irv and Joe would invite me to come on the show.
Yeah.
And then we just got to be buds, and I got to be close with the family and Pat and, especially Greg because he coached up at CU. And I just became very close with the family. And so when Irv passed, and I wasn't alone here. There was a lot of people say, what can we do to honor this guy? And for a little bit, we thought about building the Irv Brown Champion Center at Arvada High School.
I saw that. You were involved in that, yeah.
And where he won the state baseball championship back in 1964. And Steve Bell, who was a big wig with the Jefferson County Schools at the time, was on that team. And so we tried to get things going there, but it just didn't work out. But what a blessing. Then we turned to MSU Denver, where Irv was the first baseball coach, and the kids we work with, I talk to them all the time. When you walk into the gym, turn around and look up to the left. Up there on the Hall of Fame wall is Irv Brown. So this is a labor of love to honor a guy that meant so much to me.
Yeah, awesome. Now I know how you know him. Like he loved high school sports, and you were the GOAT of high school sports. So yeah, your memories.
Well, so Irv gave me the same opportunity to grow the brand of Channel 4's high school prep coverage, and gave me a little time every Friday afternoon as we were driving out to the high school football games. We would talk high school football for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it was, because cell phones had been invented at that point, so we could do that. Yeah, on the road, big step up there. But what you talk about, Irv knew everything about every athlete from every generation and their grandfather. So I would I'm kind of focused. I'd be planned on what my games were that night, and I was going to talk to Irv. We were going to talk about these games and these records and these players, and you'd mention one player, and off he'd go about the history, the schools, the parents, the grandparents, and all my planning kind of exploded, and that was great because it was the best radio you could listen to when Irv was on his roll.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's reset the table again. We'll have one more segment here. So msudenver.me/Irv. Here's what I want to do. In honor of Pat Brown, Irv's beloved wife, let's see if we can fund 2 scholarships for next year. 2 $3,000 scholarships. If you as listeners, who I know you loved Irv Brown, I'll match every penny up to $3,000. So you guys can fund one, I'll fund the other one. And I don't think Irv could be more proud of anything than his lovely wife, Pat Brown, being honored, a great educator in her own right. So go to the website, get in there, click the donate button, honor Irv Brown. We'd appreciate it if you do that. All right, let's get a couple more stories in before we wrap the Dan Jacobs Show up today. Mark McIntosh, Marcia Neville. One more segment here on The Fan.
Summer is calling, and we're sending you to the lake in style. Download the Denver Sports app to enter our Day at the Lake contest for your chance to win everything you need for that perfect lake day. You get 2 paddle boards, 2 chairs, a cooler, pop-up tent, and Bluetooth speaker. Oh, and did we mention you also get a $250 gift card to fill up that cooler? Download the Denver Sports app now and enter today. We'll see you at the lake. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Denver at 720-637-9567. 720-637-9567. That's 720-637-9567. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationdenver.com.
A lot of personal injury lawyers make claims about how good they are. But how do you know who's the best? At Berg Simpson Injury Lawyers, we've helped Coloradans for 50 years, and our results speak for themselves. We have 29 best lawyers in America, 19 super lawyers, and we're one of the National Trial Lawyers' top 25 most influential law firms. Compare us to other firms, then call Berg Simpson.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
Cecil Lammy here for my friends at SodaDietNutrition.com. Now, 5 years ago, I lost 60 pounds because of soda, and I'm never going back. I've never gained the weight back. I never will, because SodaDietNutrition.com, they taught me how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. It's simply magnificent. I want you to call them up, 866-800-SODA, where you can join Soda for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. Soda weight loss is now SodaDietNutrition.com, and you've got to have these guys on your side, because the weight loss journey, it can be tough. There can be struggles. Having a real nutritionist there available via text to help you out with any sort of questions, concerns, sometimes it's just straight up encouragement. It's SodaDietAndNutrition.com, and there's no mystery pills, mystery injections, any mystery chemicals you're putting in your body. You're doing it the right way. Learn how. Join the program. SodaDietAndNutrition.com, 866-800-SODA, because SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hello, I'm Ozempic. And I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Hey, are you shaking a maraca?
No, I'm shaking the pill version of Ozempic, which no one should ever do except in ads like this.
A nice disclaimer.
Hey, thanks. Ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of the Ozempic pen or pill may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide tablets, 9 milligrams, and Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams.
There's a pill version of Ozempic. Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you in the market for a new air conditioner? Well, hold on. You need to think about a heat pump. My team at ROX are Colorado's heat pump experts and rebate specialists. Get up to $12,000 in energy rebates and credits. These savings are incredible, but they're only available for a limited time. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX rocks heating and air.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on DenverSports.
I would really love to see if we could, in honor of Irv's wife, who just passed away this past week, we could do a couple scholarships. So if you as listeners want to get in, go to that website, msudenver.me/Irv, donate, and if you buy the first scholarship, I'll kick in for the second one. I'll match every penny up to $3,000, so we'll get 2 scholarships, hopefully for next year. Now, a couple things I want to get to. You were talking about before the break, about Irv helping people. I've never seen anybody like it, like in our business especially. And you and I, we could all talk behind the scenes about the backbiting and, people's backstabbing and stuff like that. Irv Brown, the biggest thrill he got in life was lifting people up and connecting them, trying to get them into a mode of success. And Mark and Marcia, you both said he was just such a big champion of yours in the industry. So that's awesome. I want to get that out there. But you're tight with Greg Brown, who's his son, who's a big-time coach.
Yep.
And so this is my favorite Greg Brown story. Irv would love to brag on Greg, talk about what a great coach he was and things like that. And he said, it's funny, all these coaches talk. Like they talk all the time. They're like little sewing circle, right? All the night. He says the Stoops brothers call him every night, and he just always continually told that story. In fact, one time we called up to get Bob Stoops on, when he was rolling, and they said, that's great, but no, Bob's, coach is busy. And I said, well, can you tell him it's for Greg Brown's dad? And they said, yeah. I don't think it's going to matter. And then all of a sudden I get a call back. Well, that worked. So I'm like, that's great. So I was thinking about that, and I worked here for a long time, and then I left and went to law school. Mm-hmm. And I came back, and I thought, this coaching thing's pretty easy. I'm watching a Broncos game during the Peyton Manning era, and something struck me that he's up there, Peyton's barking all these Omaha, and he's making all these play calls at the line. And I'm like, if I were the defenders, I'm like, somebody think. And then Irv's words came into my mind. I was like, I'm going to reach out to Greg. And because I know they all talk. Yep. And so I emailed Greg. I don't know if he was at Alabama at the time or whatever. And he wrote back. He was super nice. He was like, good to hear from you, Dan. And he was typical coach, tight-lipped, like, well, that would be great, but, acted like, no, you could never do that. Yeah. That weekend, it's a game, you can Google it. The Philadelphia Eagles were doing that. They were shouting like Papa John's, Papa John's. It was on the broadcast mics. And I thought I'm really on my way because that was coaching genius.
Brilliant.
The Broncos only scored about 52 points on the Eagles that weekend. So that was my Greg Brown story.
Well, so quickly about Greg. Coach McCartney and I became very close over the years, and he always called Greg Brown the best secondary coach he's ever worked with.
Yeah, fantastic, and just he said he's got that charisma like Irv, and just good stuff. Marcia, tell me your favorite Irv Brown story.
Oh, my favorite
put you on the
Irv
spot.
Brown story. I think a signal would drop out, and he just always took off. Talking about all the people he knew and everything he knew about them, and it was just so captivating to hear him tell those stories. There was one time, I don't know, he may have been calling one of our Channel 4 football broadcasts when we were doing the game of the week, and then we were doing the high school championship games, and he kept pointing to this one kid, and he wanted to tell the story about him, but I didn't give him the lead in I was supposed to, and I think he wanted to strangle me. I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, no. One piece of advice that I adhered to, and I like telling this story. So I went away. I was here as a producer. Right before I left, I was kind of the third wheel in Irv and Joe, and Irv was trying to talk me out of it. He's like, you don't want to go to law school, whatever. And so I left, and I wasn't doing anything in radio. But Irv would always say yes to every opportunity. And he would tell the story about like when ESPN was first starting, they came to him and they said, well, you've done color for football before, right? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, do it all the time. He's like, he never done it. He worked the very first play-by-play broadcast on ESPN.
Yeah.
You've done bowling before, right? Yeah, I love bowling. He was doing bowling broadcasts. So he would always say that. And many years later, I was hosting over on Mile High Sports where we had a big-time afternoon drive show. It was Mac and Doug.
Drive time with Mac and Dude.
Yes.
Ain't about us. It's all about you.
Yes. And so I was trying to get back over here on the Fan, and I was trying to crack my way in, and they kind of put me on. I was doing a little bit of fill-in. And they said, well, Dan, you've done Sandy Clough's out of town for 2 weeks. You've done fill-in before by yourself, right? You've done solo. And I was like, sure. Irv Brown running through my head. Sure, absolutely. Now, of course, I'd never done that ever, but I'm like, boom. And that's been my niche here. Because the big-time athletes don't like getting lawyered up. So, they said, Dan, you're better off by yourself. Right? So, but that was Irv Brown, man. That was quintessential Irv Brown.
Back to what you were talking about earlier, guts and personality.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that was
following it.
I mean, I found that to be true. Like the people that are willing to do just have enough courage to not care if they're embarrassed, that they have success. I mean, have you guys found that?
Yeah, and the one thing, for me, I always remember when I initially got to the market, everybody said, you need to have a shtick or something like that, and I just always felt like it's too complicated for me to sit and look into a camera that's got a red light on it and also pretend to be something I wasn't, and that Irv kind of always just be yourself,
be yourself. And one quick story, and not about me, but Mark has brought one of our dear broadcasting, any play-by-play gig that comes her way. She's the voice of MSU women's volleyball, the national champions. She's done RMAC championship games, and she was just doing the state championship track meet.
Oh, yeah.
So Mary Kay's young, saying he's always willing to help. So Mary Kay goes to Irv. He gives her a role in this town because of the connection to Irv. I mean, he lifts people up. And Mark, I think our little slogan is honor, mentor, and educate when we talk about the Irv Brown Endowment Fund. So we're there to provide scholarship dollars. We're there to provide a networking conference that brings in some of the biggest industry professionals to talk to these students in sport management and journalism and media production. And that's all about what Irv was. So it's not just his name up there. We're doing what he would do.
Yeah, his mission. And by the way, he loved, he did this job and he was great at it. And he was the godfather of sports talk, but you really wanted to light Irv up. Talk to him. Top 25 at altitude in Colorado at CU, like it's crazy. Final thoughts. Each of you, I'll go to you each one more time and your final thoughts.
Ladies first.
Oh boy, I just so how did I get involved? McIntosh is like the best recruiter ever. He drags me in kicking and screaming, and you go to that first conference and see what these students are learning, and hear their reactions to what the opportunities they're being given. You watch and learn the stories of the scholarship recipients. I was looking, I think half of our recipients are first generation college students, which mean that neither of their parents have received a 4-year degree. So this is one of those stepping stones, for the family. And it really triggers that commitment to help lift people up, young people. You're really, really making a difference.
Yeah. We're going to match it today. Mark, you get 30 seconds.
30
Sign us
seconds.
off.
You
make this show.
But Irv, he was such a special man that I loved him dearly and got to love his family. And what we're building here, knowing what's meaning for these kids, but then also honoring her. I promise you, Irv is up there and now Pat's up there, and they're
all right. What a pleasure again. Go to msudenver.me. Let's honor Pat and Irv Brown today. Let's do a couple scholarships for next year in their honor. You can do that. It's msudenver.me/Irv. There's a donate button in there, and we're going to make it happen. So I know you're listening. You loved Irv. He loved you, as he said. This is how we're going to sign off today. Thanks for listening. You make this show, everybody. Baby, come home.
Telling you he's right, you are wrong. He's reading your text. He's taking your calls. It's the Dan Jacob Show. The only way he knows how. By giving you the facts, cutting through the BS now. He's Judge Dan J. He doesn't mean no harm. He doesn't mind telling you he's right and you are wrong.
You asked for it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, it's the Drives Brouhaha.
Big social brouhaha.
This spring, Zach and Phil are back on the road bringing their party to you. First stop, the Golden Triangle in Denver. May 22nd from 2 to 6 at Schoolyard Beer Garden.
There was quite a brouhaha.
Come find out what the commotion's all about. Head to DenverSports.com/drive for more details.
Guaranteed to bring the brouhaha.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
While medicine's greatest advancements look like the latest sci-fi, one of our most powerful tools is far more simple, more human. It's a calling to connect with purpose by treating people, not just patients. With innovations that amplify healing and lead to more personalized care, guided by the belief we all hold the power to heal. At Common Spirit Health, clinical excellence lives here. Human kindness lives here. Learn more at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Progressive knows it ain't easy navigating the open plains of home insurance, but there is one man who can help tame that wild herd of options. The Home Quote Explorer.
Note, Progressive's Home Quote Explorer is not a real person, but an online tool that lets you compare home insurance.
He's the type of fella who helps you decide on the right insurance, even if it ain't with him.
Again, not a person, just an online tool that helps you find great home coverage.
A real pioneer.
Okay, fine. Just do the thing. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Usually when something sounds way too good to be true, it is. Imagine someone says they can cut your mobile bill in half. Sounds like a fantasy, but with Xfinity Mobile, it's the real deal, because when you have Xfinity Internet, you can cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. That's a lot of streaming, sharing, scrolling, and whatever else you can do with your phone. All for half price
and none of the commitment. That means you'll save big over Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. It's wild. Now all you have to do is think about how you'll spend all that extra money. Call 1-800-XFINITY, go to XfinityMobile.com, or visit a local Xfinity store to switch today. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Savings compared to one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T